What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
Curse Back. 1CB. Chapter 1 Looking at each other affectionately 6 eyes, awakening the kaleidoscope. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 136. 34. 45. Neon Country. In a Japanese-style room. Grass. JJX I really have you. For getting 2.5 Satoru, you actually drive a Gundam. How can anyone whip corpses over and over like this? After waking up, Xia Liu beat the table angrily. Just now, he fainted from anger because he showed Hong Wen to himself while reading the manga of Spell Return to War. The content of the comic is simply outrageous. Open the door to outrageousness. It's so outrageous. Fushiguro Megumi's piloted by Susanoo and Gojo Satoru piloted by Okatsu Yuta. Can you think of such a ridiculous plot? Has the spell war turned into an EVA war? Call. Why? After calming down, he realized something was wrong. Why was the decoration in the room different? After looking around, Xia Liu was confused. Where the hell did this come from? Didn't I faint from anger just reading comics? Why did my house change as soon as I woke up? Just as Xia Liu was stunned, there was a noise from the next room. Ah, puff, puff. The heartbreaking scream of a woman was mixed with the strange sound of liquid spraying. Is this, coming from the next room? Although Xia Liu has watched many learning materials videos, he is not a fool. Whose bed makes so much noise when exercising? At this time, a cold mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Ding. Loading completed. Congratulations to the host for activating the life selection system. Close black lens bracket. Ding. The first life choice has been started. Close black lens bracket. Mission choice 1. As a time traveler, you should be fearless. Please fight hand to hand with the level 3 man-made cursed spirit that is about to break through the wall. Reward. 8 door Dunjia. Close black lens bracket. Task option 2. Use love to influence the incoming cursed spirit. Reward. The art of multiple shadow clones. Close black lens bracket. Task choice 3. Make a loving gaze with the upcoming Gojo Satoru 6 eyes. Reward. Mangekyo Sharingan Kamui. Close black lens bracket. Such explosive information made Xia Liu freeze in place for a moment. It seems that I have traveled through time, and even traveled to the world of spell return. Moreover, the movement next door was caused by a cursed spirit. It will be your turn soon. Seeing such a heaven-defying choice in front of him, and Chen felt as if 10,000 grass and mud horses were galloping past. System, are you kidding me? Are you asking me to kill the cursed spirit with my bare hands? The second article is even more outrageous. Use love to influence. Can the magic spirit be influenced by love? The first two were directly passed by Xia Liu. Fortunately, there is a third option. Although it is a bit BT, it is undoubtedly the best choice. And the reward is the Mangekyo Sharingan. Boom, boom, boom. The simple wall made a huge roar, as if someone was hitting it with a giant hammer behind the wall, and the whole room was shaking. Xia Liu's heart beat faster and he retreated to the door handle, staring at the convex wall. He is gambling. 3 seconds, just bet on 3 seconds. If Gojo Satoru hasn't come in 3 seconds, close the door and run away. Life is precious, God knows whether Gojo Satoru will arrive in time. And to be honest, Xia Liu doesn't think he can defeat the cursed spirit with his bare hands. Even if Tyson comes, he has to kneel down, right? Boom. Under the huge force, the wall exploded, and a twisted monster with a ferocious face broke through the wall. A monster with a human face and an insect body, with blood-colored eyes all over its body, clawed its way through the rubble and secreted disgusting pus from its huge mouth, dripping onto the floor. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The wooden floor was corroded with large and small pits. The stench hits your face, it's disgusting. Don't leave, come to play with me, don't leave. A strange sound sounded like several children superimposed on top of each other, making Xia Liu's scalp tingle. The room opposite was a mess, with a body lying in a pool of blood. She had been chewed to the point of being reduced to a human shape, and her eyes were still open and completely out of focus. Everything in front of him undoubtedly impacted Xia Liu's heart. I'm sorry, you are so ugly that even dogs shake their heads when they look at you. When Xia Liu wants to lock the door and run away. Wow. The window exploded, and a tall figure broke through the window. The visitor has long silver white hair, a confident smile on his lips, a tall figure, and is dressed in a black magic uniform, simple and capable. He was also carrying a box of Sendai specialties, Kikufu. Smith Marseille, sorry, I'm late. With that said, Gojo Satoru instantly moved in front of the cursed spirit, raised his hand and turned it into dregs instantly. Xia Liu was speechless. As expected, he was still the man who loved desserts. Hey, poor people all love sweets. The danger was over, he dragged his chin back into the room and glanced sideways at Gojo Satoru. He was thinking about how to get Gojo Satoru to take off his blindfold. After all, how can you look at 6 eyes through the blindfold? Not to mention affectionate. Gojo Satoru raised his eyebrows and bent down to look at Xia Liu. Huh. It's not simple. In addition to being born with magical power, there is also an aura that I can't see through. Even his 6 eyes couldn't see through it, as if there was a thick layer of fog surrounding him. Seeing the man in front of him who was 3 points more handsome than himself, Gojo Satoru became interested. Xia Liu knew that the unclear thing he said should be referring to his own system. Although Gojo Satoru is very strong, it is impossible to see through the system. Are you interested in becoming a spellcaster? The kind that beats up spellcasters violently, as you saw just now. Faced with this sudden question, Xia Liu raised the corners of his mouth. Isn't that the excuse to stare at six eyes? Spellcaster. What is that? And what was the monster just now? Xia Liu tried his best to pretend not to know. Gojo Satoru stretched out a finger. Let's start with the curse spirit just now. Negative emotions such as bitterness, regret, shame, fear, etc. will all induce their appearance. Although Xia Liu already knew it, he still listened calmly. After some explanation, Gojo Satoru turned around with a smile. How are you? Are you excited? Although it is a little bit dangerous, food and accommodation are included. Xia Liu's mouth twitched. Is it a bit dangerous? If I remember correctly, almost everyone will die in the later stage. My grandma told me that you can tell whether a person's words are true or false by looking into his eyes. Xia Liu makes milk out of nothing, a serious way of saying it. Well, just watch it, but after you finish it, you have to come with me. Gojo Satoru himself also knew that it was difficult for people not to be suspicious of his appearance with a blindfold on. After some thinking, Gojo Satoru skillfully took off the eye patch, and his blue pupils emerged. Is this six eyes? It is deep and mysterious, as if it can see through everything. Xia Liu seized the opportunity and stared at him intently. The system says to look at each other affectionately, so he must be affectionate enough. Although Xia Liu has never been in love, the live broadcast of the most affectionate founder in Zhongnan has been watched frequently. It's just that the other person is a man, which makes him very uncomfortable, but for the sake of reward, what is this? Gojo Satoru, who had always been carefree, panicked. He couldn't help but take 2 steps back, complaining in his heart. Just watch it, why do you look so affectionate? Suddenly, a terrible cell phone ringtone rang. It's my heartbeat, I can't hide my bad eyes, I feel my inexplicable heartbeat for you, Japanese version. The two of them said in their hearts at the same time, FK. They turned their heads away again and again. Xia Liu finally couldn't help but looked away. What kind of bird mission does this underworld system issue? But it's okay. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the mission, the Kaleidoscope Blood Wheel Eye is released. Chapter 2 Susanoo on both sides. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 81. 20. 27. As the sound of the system fell, Xia Liu felt a twinge of pain in his eyes. FK. See. Xia Liu covered his eyes and sat down on the chair, sweat dripping from his forehead. It hurts. It hurts so much. It felt as if someone had stabbed his eyeball with a needle, and it was accompanied by scalding heat. But after thinking about the painful experience of the Uchiha clan awakening the Sharingan, I felt better. Hey, what's wrong with you? Gojo Satoru quickly put on the eye patch, thinking that his 6 eyes was too domineering and irritated Xia Liu. Xia Liu closed his eyes tightly, feeling pain and happiness at the same time, and waved his hand to Gojo Satoru to express that it was okay. 5 minutes later, Xia Liu came to the mirror and smiled with satisfaction. The original black eyes have turned scarlet and the 3 crystal magatama slowly rotated and spread, forming a beautiful kaleidoscope pattern in an instant. Gear-shaped dart marks emerge, rotating like a formation, mysterious and unpredictable. Is this the same model as Obito? Is it difficult to hide tears with divine power? Xia Liu looked around, and the remaining spell power in the air and the tracks of sand scattered on the ground were all presented in detail before his eyes. He looked at the water glass on the table not far away and glared slightly. The center of the water glass suddenly began to twist, and the entire water glass disappeared. K is so handsome. Is this the Mangekyo Sharingan? It's really powerful. As soon as I thought about it, I opened the ability panel. Shenwei, the left eye mainly attacks, which can distort the space at the point of focus. The right eye is the main guard. Active release can suck oneself or foreign objects into a different space. When attacked, it will automatically move to a different space and be immune to all damage. Note, there will be no side effects after upgrading to the Eternal Kaleidoscope. Close black lens bracket. The double divine power is really powerful. If you use your left eye well, you can even kill him instantly with a powerful twist of the head. The power of the right eye is reduced to greatly improve the ability to save life, and it can also perform many cool operations. For example, locking the enemy into the divine space and starving him to death. It was better to work hard to upgrade to the Eternal Kaleidoscope. He didn't want to cause bleeding or even blindness due to excessive use. Perhaps it is because of the special physique of the time traveler that he seems to be able to communicate with mana and chakra. In this way, he can use both curses and ninjutsu. Wow, is this your spell? It's so magical. Gojo Satoru flashed to Xia Liu's side and looked at him curiously. This time he found a treasure. Xia Liu switched to normal and his pupils returned to normal. Well, thanks to you, I just woke up. Gojo Satoru looked at him deeply and waved his hand. It has nothing to do with me. My 6 eyes is indeed very powerful, but there is no such thing as helping others awaken the spell. The only explanation is that Xia Liu has extremely high talent and is a natural-born magician. Let's go, teacher Gojo Satoru, and pay more attention to me from now on. Ah, please take good care of me, Xia Liu-san. Seeing Xia Liu agreeing, Gojo Satoru looked happy. Nowadays, the number of spell spirits is increasing, but spell masters are very rare. He is very happy to be able to recruit a talented student. Looking at the hands on his shoulders, Xia Liu asked, should I go to a spell college or? Having read the comics, he knew that Gojo Satoru liked to hold the other person's collar when he was leading someone on the road. In the introduction just now, Gojo Satoru mentioned general information about the magic world. Just based on these alone, he still doesn't know what time it is now. Did Itadori eat Susanoo's finger? Your senior brother just called and encountered trouble. Let's go over there. Gojo Satoru grabbed Natsuliu's clothes, jumped up, and quickly shuttled through the city. Xia Liu felt that the scene in front of him was changing rapidly, and the wind was howling, blowing his hair back, but he was not panicked. After awakening the Sharingan, not only did his physical skills improve, but his eye power also experienced a qualitative leap. Although the speed was very fast, he could clearly see every building he passed. Seeing that Xia Liu didn't panic at all, Gojo Satoru raised his lips slightly. Not only is this kid extremely talented, but he also has a good character. He might be able to reach the level of Okatsu and Shokunji. Is the Conjuration Academy about to welcome a new special level conjurer? Feeling a little hungry, Xia Liu stretched out his hand and said, "Teacher, please give me some happiness." Gojo Satoru felt pain in his heart. "Just give me one piece." There was silence in Shan's high school. Wow. The sound of breaking glass was heard. "Senior, are you okay?" Itadori relied on the excellent physical talent of the cursed spirit body to shatter the glass with a flying kick and at the same time repel the huge cursed spirit. A thrilling rescue of the senior sister from the Spiritual Research Society who was on the verge of death. "Didn't I tell you not to come?" The one who shouted urgently was the hedgehog-headed man, Fushiguro Megumi. Seeing that Itadori dared to snatch people directly from the hands of the cursed spirit, he was also frightened. This reckless man. He gritted his teeth and ran down the corridor with all his strength, his hand gestures like a dog. "Jade Dog. Go and save people." Following his command, two Shikigami dynasties condensed by the power of the curse emerged from the shadows. Two jade dogs, one black and one white, were as fast as the wind, biting towards the twisted and ugly cursed spirit. After putting down the senior in his arms, Itadori looked forward in surprise. Is this the cursed spirit in Fushigiro's mouth? It's a little different from what I imagined. Boom. Fushiguro Megumi attacked and smashed the cursed spirit into pieces. The two jade dogs, with gleaming eyes, immediately rushed forward to share the food. The Pa team starts to cook. Fushiguro Megumi put his hands in his pockets and said calmly, "I wanted to ask you why you came, but you did a good job, but aren't you afraid?" It was probably the first time Itadori saw a cursed spirit, so he would be frightened. "Itadori, I was quite scared at first, but my grandfather's death made me realize that at least I have to let the people I know die the right way." Looking at the dark red air-dried finger slipping from the senior's body, the cloth strip sealing it had been removed, Itadori felt depressed. If I hadn't brought my finger back, this thing wouldn't have happened in the school, and the seniors wouldn't have been hurt. This happened because of me. Okay, don't blame yourself too much. Their lives are not in danger. This is a special grade cursed object, a double-sided finger. Give it to me quickly. Once it falls into the mouth of the cursed spirit, the consequences will be disastrous. Fushiguro Megumi reached out and asked for it. Although he didn't know what was delicious about this finger, Itadori handed it over anyway. At this moment, a black vortex suddenly appeared on the ceiling, and a huge hand stretched out. The target is the finger in Itadori's palm. Fushiguro Megumi's pupils contracted, and the two jade dogs noticed it and roared. "Run away." Boom. A huge cursed spirit fell down. The body is spliced together from the corpses of countless cursed spirits, resembling both a giant lizard and a reptile. The aura it exudes is far stronger than the previous cursed spirits. Itadori was thrown away by the impact, while Fushiguro Megumi was directly slapped away and landed on the second-floor platform. The blow was so powerful that the teaching building almost collapsed and the power was cut off. Fushiguro Megumi spit out a mouthful of blood and was unable to stand up for a while, let alone release the spell. The cursed spirit rushed forward at top speed, trying to devour him. At the critical moment, Itadori jumped up, rode on the cursed spirit, raised his fist and smashed it. Fushiguro Megumi raised his head with difficulty. The cursed spirit can only be removed with curses, you can't defeat it. Let's go. But how can Itadori care so much now? If Fushiguro really leaves, he will definitely die. But the difference in strength was there, and after a while Itadori was held tightly by the giant hand. The cursed spirit opened its bloody mouth, and the stench made Itadori dizzy. The internal organs were squeezed, and the corners of Itadori's mouth were bleeding and in severe pain. He held Susanoo's fingers to his mouth, and Fushigiro's words came to his mind. Will you gain powerful spells by eating it? Isn't this the way to save everyone? Isn't it enough if I have the power of magic, Fushiguro? Fushiguro Megumi. No. Itadori was heartbroken and swallowed the finger into his belly. It's over. Fushiguro Megumi dropped to his knees in despair with his head in his hands. Outside the school. Xia Liu, is this the settlement? Seeing it with your own eyes is far more mysterious than in the comics. It was pitch black, as if shrouded in eternal night, and nothing inside could be seen. Gojo Satoru. Well, you should remember to arrange it when you perform tasks in the future. Xia Liu didn't listen to a word of Gojo Satoru's words. Because, the voice of the system sounded in my mind. A new life choice has been opened. Task choice 1. With the divine power in hand, I own the world, and use the divine power to achieve a Susanoo mentality. Reward. 8-gate Dunjia, close black lens bracket. Task choice 2. Transform into a cheerleader and cheer for Gojo Satoru. Reward. Naruto mouth release. Close black lens bracket. Task choice 3. While Gojo Satoru is fighting Susanoo, eat up all his kikufu. Reward. Tsunade original black stockings. Close black lens bracket. Long-term mission. The higher-ups of the conjurers are corrupt and refuse to work for them. Please create the Akatsuki organization and invite conjurers to join progress. 0/3 people reward. Eternal Kaleidoscope. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 3. The divine power is gone, playing tricks on Susanoo. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 453. 113. 151. This system is a bit. First of all, rule out 3. I just ate a piece of shijufu. It was too sweet. Besides, I already have the divine power, so what else can I do? Tsunade's original black stockings are certainly, wow. But who can resist the 8-door Dunjia that almost kicked out Emperor Kai in the finale? Xia Liu already had a choice in his mind. There is actually another long-term mission. Akatsuki organization. He knows this. This is the most popular group among Hokage, handsome and mysterious. Wherever the iconic fire cloud robe goes, the sense of oppression is immediately felt. Moreover, the reward is actually the eternal kaleidoscope. It seems that after joining the magic college, you will have to slowly poach people. If Gojo Satoru knew that he was poaching, would he be so angry? Why not just find a way to poach Gojo Satoru directly? Xia Liu shook his head. Now he had to complete the mission and obtain the 8-gate Dunjia. Let's go in, Mr. Gojo Satoru. Under the moonlight. The one who fainted was Itadori, but the one who woke up was Susanoo, the cursed king from thousands of years ago. Susanoo only used a little force to tear the cursed spirit's arm into pieces. Black curse lines appeared on the face and arms. The finger is mine, give it back to me. The huge body of the cursed spirit crawls towards you crazily, threatening to devour the person in front of you. Oh, noisy fish. Susanoo transformed into a claw with one hand, swept through the air, and directly tore the huge body of the cursed spirit into pieces. The flesh and blood all over the sky was cut into countless pieces, and purple blood sprinkled like rain. With just one blow, he instantly killed the first-level cursed spirit that put Fushiguro Megumi in dire straits. Ha 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 ha. Moonlight is really the most exciting thing to experience in person. Susanoo tore up his clothes, looked up to the sky and laughed, letting the moonlight shine on his crazy face. He pushed his hair back and stretched his arms. Oh, is this the world 1,000 years from now? I smell countless fascinating scents. Two-sided Susanoo, two-faced and four-handed false ghosts and gods. The most powerful cursed king from thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago, during the heyday of magic, countless magicians went to crusade, but they all failed and became the bones of his followers. It's over now, the worst, what if, happens. Fushiguro Megumi looked at the replaced Itadori with a complicated expression. Susanoo glanced at Fushiguro Megumi with the small eyes on his side face. Then, it's your turn. Susanoo was just about to take action. Snapped. Itadori slapped him in the face. What the hell? This is my body. You can actually. Damn it. Your body is out of control. You have just enjoyed the moonlight for a while. Susanoo's voice sounded within his body. 2 seconds later, the evil aura disappeared, and the eyes on his face also retracted. Hey, Fushiguro, what are you doing? Fushiguro Megumi squatted on the ground, forming an attack hand shape. Sorry, according to the rules of the spell, I must get rid of you. Let me see what's going on. Natsuliu and Gojo Satoru suddenly appeared beside him. Fushiguro Megumi looked happy. Teacher Gojo Satoru, you are finally here. Well, next to, who is this? The unfamiliar face made him look at Gojo Satoru. Gojo Satoru, dang. Xia Liu, my new talented magician, is he as handsome as me? Looking at the bloody Fushiguro Megumi in front of him, Xia Liu smiled and said hello. Just like in the impression, he is a serious and proud man with black hair and a hedgehog head and a kind heart. Xia Liu had to leave a good impression. After all, these were all preparatory members of the Akatsuki organization in the future. Gojo Satoru looked at Itadori, who was shirtless and confused. Where are the special fingers? Are they still there? Itadori. I'm sorry, I ate you. After Fushiguro Megumi's explanation, Gojo Satoru not only did not panic, but showed excited eyes. So Fushiguro, do you want him to die? Gojo Satoru looked at Fushiguro Megumi with a smile. After Fushiguro Megumi hesitated, he shook his head. No, I don't want him to die. Then you can, Xia Liu-san. I don't want to. Xia Liu pretended to think and continued. But, can you let me and Susanoo pass 2 moves? How about just treating it as a freshman exam? As soon as these words came out, several people were stunned. Fushiguro Megumi immediately stopped him. How is this possible? Even if he only has the strength of 1 finger, Susanoo is at the top level. How can a newcomer face such a risk? It's really crazy. Gojo Satoru looked at Xia Liu. You will die if you are not careful. Are you sure? Xia Liu has already started to do warm-up exercises. You are here, teacher. Ah ha ha ha. Interesting. Gojo Satoru smiled and made a sign of 10 moves. If you can withstand Susanoo's 10 moves, you will pass. What? Mr. Gojo Satoru, how can a newcomer survive 10 moves with a special hand? Fushiguro Megumi is going to collapse. It doesn't matter if the newcomer is crazy. Why is Gojo Satoru-sensei accompanying him crazy? The magic family has finally added a new member, but will it disappear again soon? Gojo Satoru waved his hand casually. Yeah, I'm watching, nothing will happen. For him, it couldn't be easier to save people from Susanoo with one finger. Mainly because I wanted to see what spell Xia Liu had awakened that gave him such confidence. However, 10 moves are unlikely to be possible. You have to watch carefully. The genius cannot die just like this. Xia Liu stepped forward. Then Itadori, let Susanoo get up to pick up the guests. The Sharingan activated, and the black pupils turned into scarlet darts, spinning slowly. Xia Liu has always been steady and has the passive ability to weaken his divine power, so he will not be in danger. As long as he doesn't take the initiative to attack and escapes from the virtual state, Susanoo can only stare. He was a little excited at this moment. After all, the first battle after traveling through time was against Susanoo. Itadori Yuji lowered his head and said nothing. After a moment, a violent aura emitted, black lines condensed, and small eyes appeared again. Haha, are all the conjurers after 1,000 years so arrogant? The voice of the cursed king came again. Gojo Satoru yelled. Oh, it's so scary, the cursed king is angry. Fushiguro Megumi looked at the new junior student, Natsuliu, with a dark face and extremely worried. Susanoo twisted his neck and activated the clicking sound, kill all of you. Then he moved in front of Xia Liu and dug out his sharp black claws at Xia Liu's heart. Xia Liu remained motionless and allowed Susanoo to catch him. Damn it. He knew how an untrained magician could avoid Susanoo's attack. Fushiguro Megumi clenched his fists. Why didn't Mr. Gojo Satoru come to the rescue? It would be too late. Gojo Satoru frowned. After all, he still lacked training and couldn't react. Just when he was about to come to the rescue, Xia Liu took the initiative to step forward, and Susanoo's attack went straight through. Nani, did you wear it? Susanoo looked at the sharp claws that passed through his body in disbelief. His attack actually penetrated directly, as if the opposite side was an illusory projection. Fushiguro Megumi's eyes widened. Straight, passed right through. What kind of spell is this? No, there is no fluctuation in spell power at all. In other words, Xia Liu did not cast a spell at all. But how is this possible? Gojo Satoru pulled down half of his blindfold, revealing one eye, staring intently at Xia Liu's scarlet pupils. If you guessed correctly, the distorted fluctuations in the air just now were caused by these eyes, right? What kind of magic power do these eyes have? Instead of looking at each other, he seemed to be stuck in a deep quagmire, as if countless bloody hands from hell were trying to pull him into the endless abyss. Six Eyes felt threatened for the first time. He pulled up his blindfold and curled up the corners of his mouth. Awesome. You are worthy of being the student I recruited. Strong winds blew up, gravel flew, and the hard earth was almost split in half. Susanoo's overwhelming attack hit Xia Liu. It turns out that the King of Curses can also take out the heart of a black tiger. Have you ever heard of a crow flying on a plane? Xia Liu stood there and allowed Susanoo to attack. At the same time, he didn't forget to taunt him. After all, the system's mission was to make him have a Nuo mentality. Susanoo, who was a little tired from the beating, stepped back and suppressed the anger in his heart. As the majestic King of Curses, he was actually laughed at by a kid. Is it similar to a space spell? Although I can't attack you, why don't you attack me? Are you afraid? Or, you have no means of attack at all. Ha ha ha. Susanoo roughly guessed Xia Liu's ability. From the beginning to the end, he never launched an attack. Even if he deliberately sold a weakness just now, he was indifferent. He could only defend but not attack. Xia Liu raised his eyebrows slightly. After what he said, it seemed that he hadn't used the space distortion of his left eye yet. The corners of his mouth curved slightly, no means of attack. The kaleidoscope pattern in the left eye rotates, and the sight is focused on Susanoo's head. Chapter 4 Shenwei twists his head. Is he sweating profusely, brother? Xia Liu lifted up her hair, turned the kaleidoscope pattern in her left eye, and focused on Susanoo's head. Divine power. The space is distorted, emitting strange vortexes. A strong sense of death swept through his body. Susanoo's pupils shrank sharply, and he dodged as fast as he could. Click. Susanoo's arm was directly torn off. He covered his short arm that was bleeding and looked at the joking Xia Liu with slight horror, feeling a chill in his back. Forcibly twisting his body by twisting space. If I hadn't dodged in time just now, the head of this container would have been directly twisted off. What a domineering spell. It seems to be more powerful than my own. Solution, and 8. Susanoo activated the reverse curse technique, and the broken arm grew back. The scene just now was watched by Gojo Satoru and Fushiguro Megumi. Fushiguro Megumi swallowed, with a look of horror in his eyes. Is this too foul? He actually broke his arm. Teacher Gojo Satoru, who is Natsuliu? Fushiguro Megumi looked at Gojo Satoru seriously. Even if he were to kill him, he would not believe that Natsuliu was just a novice magician. Let's not talk about Xia Liu's abilities. His calmness when he faced Susanoo, the King of Curses, for the first time is intriguing. Gojo Satoru was also frightened, but it was not because of Natsuliu's ability, but because of Itadori's head. This Xia Liu's attack was of no importance. If Susanoo didn't escape and had his head twisted off, Itadori would be the one who died. As for Xia Liu's identity, he doesn't care what Xia Liu's origins are, at least through 6 eyes, no malicious intent was found. Xia Liu pretended to be in pain and covered his left eye. The effect of Divine Power's aberration on the eyes is very small, but the side effects of Divine Power's head twisting are quite serious. His left eye was a little dry after only one use. As for why he acted so painfully. Of course he was just pretending to show Susanoo. Susanoo now only has one finger on his strength, so he naturally has to hide it. Having read the comics, he knows that Susanoo is extremely good at gathering intelligence. Isn't the duel with Gojo Satoru the best proof? Seeing this, Susanoo smiled. So, if you perform such a weird attack, the backlash on you will be huge, right? If you attack again, will your eyes go blind? In this way, if the consumption continues, he will only win. Just now, his 1,000-year state of mind has been shaken. If this guy can keep using that move, it will be a great threat to him. Fortunately, he can't. Xia Liu said nothing because. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the mission, the 8-gate Dunjia is being distributed. The corners of Xia Liu's mouth rose. The 8 gates of taijutsu armor is the unique skill of Metkai in Naruto. The 8th door, the opening of the door of death, can cause space distortion just in the prelude. It almost kicked off the finale. So scary. As the system prompts sounded, all the information about the 8-gate Dunjia poured into Xia Liu's mind. A stream of heat flowed through his body. Feeling the power surging inside his body, Xia Liu felt that he could blow the cursed spirit's head off with one punch. Close the door, open it. Xia Liu's body shook, and he closed the second door of the 8-door Dunjia and opened it. The airflow surged, making his robes rustle, and the airflow around his body also boiled as the door opened. In this state, Xia Liu's strength and speed have been greatly improved. With one foot crushing the ground, Xia Liu ducked behind Susanoo and knocked him into the air with an uppercut. So fast. When Susanoo was still in a state of confusion in the air, black shoe prints appeared in front of him. Boom. Susanoo's body hit the ground like a cannonball. Resting is the highest stage he can reach at present, and any higher level will hurt his body. However, it is still enough to deal with Susanoo at this stage. Susanoo climbed out of the pit and smiled. Interesting. It's really interesting. I didn't expect that the world after 1,000 years will be far more exciting than before. He stretched out his hand and pointed at Xia Liu. I remember you and look forward to the next showdown. After saying that, his body fell limply, and his consciousness was once again dominated by Itadori. However, Itadori had already fainted at this time. Watching the battle from a distance, Fushiguro Megumi no longer knew what to say. Susanoo, who could easily kill a level 1 spell spirit, was beaten up by a novice spellcaster who didn't even have a level. Although that was just one finger of Susanoo's strength, if it were him, could he survive 10 moves? I don't know where Mr. Gojo Satoru got such a ruthless person from. Gojo Satoru put his hand on Xia Liu's shoulder. Wow. Xia Liu, you are not kind, you actually hid such a skill. If the spatial ability just now was attributed to Xia Liu's extraordinary talent, then what's the explanation for this physical skill? Without endless training, it would be impossible to achieve this level. Maybe Xia Liu didn't need to save himself before. From this point of view, Xia Liu's identity is indeed worth exploring. Xia Liu looked at the two people helplessly. He knew that he couldn't explain it at all now, so he simply didn't bother to explain. Let them figure it out. It's over. Fushiguro Megumi carried Itadori who fainted, and they prepared to take the bus back to the Magic College. Before leaving, Xia Liu used his divine power to leave the coordinates of this place. The advantage of Shinwei is that you can travel at will regardless of distance, but the prerequisite is that you have coordinates. He has not forgotten that he still has a mission to create the Akatsuki organization. This may be used as the base of the Akatsuki organization in the future. Once he has the coordinates, he can teleport back and forth. The reward is an eternal kaleidoscope. On the bus, Xia Liu leaned against the window and admired the moonlight. The moon in the world of magic is also round and seems to be even brighter. At this moment, he felt like he was in a dream, and this kind of time-traveling thing actually happened to him. Let's put it bluntly, but the world before was nothing worth worrying about. He was an orphan without a father and a mother. Coupled with the 12-hour assembly line work in 2 shifts every day, his dream of being a hero had long been blunted. Since God has given me this opportunity to travel to the world of magic, I must fight for everything. The tragedy in the comics will never happen, and the revolving door will cease to exist. But the premise of all this is that he must become strong, so strong that no one can threaten him. There is no need to look at anyone's face. Strong enough to say casually, I don't eat beef. After all, this world is extremely dangerous. Even if he is as strong as Gojo Satoru, wouldn't he still be killed by Susanoo's lone space? If Susanoo doesn't take out the loan, it's really not certain who will win between the two. Therefore, he will never let down his guard because of his illusory power. Perhaps even if the system does not issue a task to create the Akatsuki organization, he will take the initiative to form a force. The old and rotten people in the upper echelons of the magic arts are not worthy of trust. Now he has gained the power of double divine power and 8-gate Dunjia. Judging from the battle just now, Kamui's twisting of the head is best done by surprise. First, the distance is too far and it is impossible to focus accurately on the head. This can be seen from Kakashi breaking one of Deidara's arms in Naruto. Kakashi's original intention was to kill him instantly with a twist of his head due to his divine power, but it was a misjudgment due to the distance. Moreover, the divine power is not instantaneous, which also leads to the opportunity for the enemy to react. As for the 8-gate Dunjia, due to his physical limit, he could only open it to the second stage for the time being. Kai in the anime is forced to open the door to death. Thinking of this, Xia Liu suddenly stood up. If he could understand a fully automatic reversal technique like Shojinji's, could he open the 8 gates without any injuries? Can the outrageous fully automatic injury repair neutralize the damage caused by Death Door? Xia Liu was looking forward to it. Right now, the most important thing is to return to the Conjuration College and poach people. You have to dig at least 3 people to get the reward. If I remember correctly, the Eternal Mangekyo also has many powerful abilities, such as the Perfect Body, Susanoo. And through the appearance of these 2 systems, he came to a conclusion. Participating in events or interacting with spellcasters will increase the probability of triggering life choices. Chapter 5 Food and accommodation included. The principal is furious. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 491. 123. 164. Suburbs of Tokyo. The Magic College is located in a sparsely populated mountain. Itadori has already taken care of his grandfather's funeral affairs, and Gojo Satoru has also single-handedly saved Itadori. The death penalty was changed from immediate execution to suspended death. Itadori looked around curiously. Is this really a magic college? Why does it look so much like a deep mountain forest? Gojo Satoru, just get used to it. After all, how can a place for eating, sleeping, and casting spells be built in the center of the city? Then Itadori looked at Xia Liu again. Xia Liu is so powerful, he can actually suppress Susanoo throughout the whole process. Natsuliu patted Itadori on the shoulder. Before, I almost forgot that Susanoo occupied Itadori's body. If Kamui twisted his head and Susanoo failed to avoid it, Itadori would. He looked at his broken shoulder again, and fortunately Susanoo used the reverse curse technique to help him recover. Itadori wondered, by the way, where is Fushiguro? Gojo Satoru held his head in his hands and said with a smile, he suffered internal injuries and has received treatment. He should be sleeping soundly now. Then, he looked at Natsuliu and Itadori and introduced them to the school's information. After roughly speaking, several people had arrived in front of a retro courtyard gate. Engraved on it are 12 large characters, Tokyo Metropolitan College of Magic. Anyway, you two should behave well later. If the principal is not satisfied, he will refuse to enter the school. Hearing this, Itadori held his head and shouted, will I still be rejected? Then I will be executed soon. Gojo Satoru, don't be afraid, the principal is a very kind person. Soon, the 3 of them entered a large courtyard room. Inside the house, the light was dim, illuminated entirely by candlelight on both sides. The whole house was filled with dolls with strange expressions. Too slow, Satoru. You are 8 minutes late. Itadori was startled. I saw a tough guy sitting cross-legged in front of me. His hands were very busy, and he was actually knitting dolls. The serious-looking uncle is actually making kawaii dolls. Isn't this too inconsistent? Xia Liu looked around with a calm expression. He knew that these dolls piled everywhere were not ordinary dolls, but cursed remains made by Yaga Masamiki himself. These dolls should not be underestimated. He would like to be called the puppet master of the magic world. As expected, the next step is to torture Itadori. Yaga glanced at Natsuliu with some surprise, and then said to Gojo Satoru, although I won't scold you, you have to change your habit of being late. Ah, since I won't scold you, then save your energy. You may spend some time later. Gojo Satoru put his hand on Xia Liu's shoulder, looking like he was watching a good show. Let me introduce you to this. This is our great principal Yaga Masamiki. His hobby is knitting some sexy dolls. If you have any needs in that regard, you can privately ask Principal Yaga to customize it. Gojo Satoru joked cheekily. Yaga Masamiki gritted his teeth and said, just stop it. After all, I am also the principal. Don't you want to lose face? Then he stood up slowly, walked forward and took a deep look at Xia Liu, then he set his sights on Itadori. Are you Susanoo's container? What a hidden bomb. Itadori bowed quickly and said nervously, it's me. I've caused you trouble. What are you here for? Itadori. Interview. I'm asking you why you came to the Conjuring College. Itadori looked confused when asked, but then answered with all his heart. Gojo Satoru shook his head helplessly, spread his hands to Xia Liu, and complained, hey. It's starting again. Xia Liu searched around for dolls and finally settled on a pink twin-tail doll. Divine power. The space was distorted, and the doll was quietly sucked into the divine space. Anyway, I'm bored now, so why not find a doll to hold and sleep with at night? Ahem. Gojo Satoru also quietly leaned into his ear. I want the one with the hair on the forehead. Looking at the direction of Gojo Satoru's finger, Xia Liu looked stunned. Why does this hairstyle look so similar to Xia Yuji's? Sure enough, the married woman Xia Yuji is the one that Gojo Satoru feels in his heart. Natsuliu used his divine power to suck the doll into space, satisfying Gojo Satoru's request. Boom. Itadori was knocked away by the summoned doll, and Yaga tortured Itadori while talking rationally. These words may be verbose to others, but they are absolutely meaningful to Itadori. Itadori was awakened at this moment and realized his inner self. I saw Itadori's expression change for a while, and then his eyes were extremely firm and he said loudly, only I can do this thing of swallowing Susanoo's fingers. Even if I can avoid the death penalty and escape this mission, when I go back to eat, take a shower, and read comics, someone will die tragically because of Susanoo and the cursed spirit at any time. How can I feel at ease? I don't want this. Yaga Masamiki stopped. Very good, you are qualified. Xia Liu couldn't help but sigh. What a responsible and kind person. However, I am not as noble as Itadori. He just wants to keep getting stronger and protect the people he cares about. What does the life and death of other people have to do with him? It's your turn, freshman. Gojo Satoru can bring you here, there must be something unique about it, right? Let me see it. Yi Daojungmo looked at Xia Liu. Chowdu, please wait. Gojo Satoru quickly ran to Yaga. I advise you not to fight him, you will regret it. Yaga Masamiki raised his eyebrows. Do you think I can't even beat a newcomer? Although Yaga Masamiki is not a monster like Gojo Satoru, he is still the principal of the Magic College. The panda is his proudest achievement. With pandas around, he can even barely squeeze into the ranks of super-level magicians. Even without pandas, he can control hundreds of cursed corpses at the same time. A proper first-level conjurer. But you told me that he can't deal with a new sorcerer. Then should he continue to mess around? Hey, mouse tail juice. Gojo Satoru, whose persuasion was fruitless, ducked in front of Xia Liu, pointed at his eyes, and whispered, don't be too harsh. Xia Liu nodded. He certainly won't use his Kamui attack on Yaga Masamiki. Throughout the comic, although the principal is a bit rigid and strict, he has absolutely no problems as a person and is worthy of admiration. The only thing I want to complain about is that it was too righteous and the death was a bit aggrieved. Yaga Masamiki looked serious. So, why did you come to the Conjuring College? For what? Of course it's just to poach people. Not only Tokyo schools, but also Kyoto Prefecture cannot let it go. But Xia Liu couldn't really say that. So, he looked at Yaga. Didn't teacher Gojo Satoru say that food and housing are included? As soon as these words came out, the three of them were stunned at the same time. Gojo Satoru looked at Natsuliu crazily. Hey. Can you not say it so bluntly? It's very difficult for me. But then I thought about it, Xia Liu seemed to really care about this. Itadori's mouth was so wide open at this moment that it seemed like he could fit a whole apple in. As expected of Xia Liu, he actually dared to say this. If it were him, he would have been beaten severely. But if it's Xia Liu, it's okay to answer whatever you want, right? After all, he is very powerful and cannot be viewed from a freshman perspective. I wonder who is better, Xia Liu or the principal. Chapter 6 shocked. It was the principal who was beaten. Food and housing are included. Did you come to the Conjuring College just to get food and housing? Furious. Yaga Masamiki was completely angry, and his face turned red with anger. The cursed spirit on his body was rioting visibly to the naked eye, and hundreds of dolls in the room instantly surrounded Xia Liu. As a conjurer, he is so unaware. He must teach this newcomer a lesson. If after the lesson, he still cannot get a satisfactory answer, then he will not accept it. Not even if you have some talent. Conjuration College is not a place to hang around. At the same time, outside the courtyard, several figures quietly came to the door. They are the second-year students of Tokyo University, Panda, Inawan, and Zenin Maki. The talented new student Fushiguro talked about must be receiving a lecture from the principal inside. The panda's round body leaned its ear against the door and muttered. Keep your voice down, or you will be punished if Yaga hears you. It was none other than Zenin Maki who spoke. She crossed her arms, frowned slightly, and her cold face was a little serious. Just now, when they went to visit Fushiguro Megumi, they learned from him that teacher Gojo Satoru had brought two newcomers. One is named Itadori, who swallowed Susanoo's finger, and the other is named Xia Liu, who is powerful. And she came here just to see who this newcomer named Xia Liu was. Because, Fushiguro actually said that his taijutsu surpassed his own. She has a strong heart and naturally wants to come and have a look. If possible, she would even like to have a discussion with her. Go-wan waved his hand from a distance. Moayu. Panda said casually, it's okay Go-wan, we won't be discovered by the principal. The words just fell. Boom. The door suddenly exploded. The strong impact knocked the three people who were caught off guard and flew out. Even the whole house was shaking violently, as if it might collapse at any time. Gojo Satoru also withdrew Itadori and looked at the three people who fell on the ground with some surprise. Question mark. Panda, what happened? Isn't the principal interviewing new students? Zenuan Maki and Inamaki also looked at Gojo Satoru curiously. Gojo Satoru smiled helplessly. Don't panic, the principal is discussing with the newcomers. Compete with newcomers. Is such a big commotion really just a discussion? The principal is obviously angry. Itadori, who was dizzy after being carried on his shoulders, forced a smile. My name is Itadori, it's the first time we meet, please take care of me, hee. The three of them were shocked again. Since he is Itadori, the one inside must be the newcomer named Natsuliu, right? Wait a minute, teacher Gojo Satoru, do you really have nothing to do with him? Panda looked shocked. Although he didn't know how this person named Xia Liu made the principal angry, Principal Yaga was obviously serious about it. Is it true that Junior Xia Liu will not be beaten to death? He was created with Yaga Masamiki's painstaking efforts, and it is not an exaggeration to say that he has a father-son relationship. And his temper is well known to pandas. If there is no satisfactory answer, I'm afraid. Really? Gojo Satoru looked into the room with a deep look, it's really not certain who will hit whom. As soon as these words came out, several people's eyes showed horror. Nani? Did you hear that right? Although I heard from Fushiguro Megumi that this one called Natsuliu is very powerful, but is he already strong enough to compete with Principal Yaga? Is this too exaggerated? Even the genius Okatsu Yuta was beaten by the principal, right? Obviously, Gojo Satoru's words did not convince them. Bang bang bang. There was a fierce roar in the house, which sounded like the sound of fists and feet clashing. Windows burst, beams broke, and even the roof was about to be lifted off, stirring up dust. Maki and others looked serious, thinking secretly in their hearts. Just listening to the sound is a competition of physical skills. Although Principal Yaga majors in making curses and is not outstanding in physical skills, this is not something that a newcomer can do. Presumably, it won't be long before the one named Xia Liu can no longer hold on. Boom. There was another loud bang. The house collapsed. A figure could be vaguely seen flying backwards and hitting the wall heavily. Gojo Satoru raised his eyebrows slightly and sighed. Why are you so stubborn? Just give up if you can't win. It's not embarrassing. Now the house is gone. Panda. Yeah, this new guy is quite stubborn, but he's quite to my liking. Maki and Inamaki also believed that Gojo Satoru was talking about Natsuliu. They believe that Xia Liu's ability to sustain for so long is already impressive. Sudden. Whoosh. In the smoke and dust, cursed dolls kept flying out. The ground was covered with dust. 10, 20, hundreds. Soon, the courtyard was filled with dolls. Looking at the cursed doll with missing arms and legs that fell to the ground, several people took a breath. This is a doll made by the principal. They were beaten by this thing a lot back then. But at this moment, it flew out like a kite with its string cut off. Was all this done by the newcomer? Could it be that the figure that flew upside down just now was Yaga Masamiki? 2 minutes later, two figures walked in front of them. It was Natsuliu and Yaga Masamiki. The two of them were seen holding each other's backs, and Yaga Masamiki burst into laughter and kept praising him. People who don't know think that the two are brothers who haven't seen each other for many years. But upon closer inspection, Yaga's left eye was black and blue, his clothes were dirty and his steps were sloppy. On the other hand, Xia Liu always had a smile on his face, his breathing was steady, and there was no trace of injury. In this contest, who is strong and who is weak has been decided. Several people no longer knew what to say. They were still a little worried about whether Xia Liu would be beaten to death. As a result, it turns out that it was the principal who got beaten. Ahem. Yaga Masamiki looked at everyone. Let me introduce to you, this is our new student from the Conjuration College, Xia Liu. Just now, we had a friendly discussion. It's really awesome. You guys should get along well in the future. Xia Liu looked at the three people who appeared in front of him and recognized them immediately. Isn't this Maki, Gohan and Panda? He smiled and said, 3 seniors, please take good care of me in the future. The three of them waved in unison. Hello, hello, Junior Xia Liu. Originally, they wanted to enjoy the experience of training freshmen as seniors, but now they gave up. If they really practice, I'm afraid they will be the ones who suffer. While several people were communicating, Yaga Masamiki pulled Gojo Satoru aside. Yaga, you brat, why didn't you speak more clearly just now? You really want to see me get beaten, right? Looking at the broken dolls scattered on the ground, he felt extremely painful and regretful. After so many years of coaching, this was the first time that he was in such a mess and was actually beaten by a new student. Hey, this is a disgrace to Grandma's house. PFF'd. Gojo Satoru couldn't help laughing, spreading his hands and saying, don't be lazy about this, I've already reminded you just now. However, he did not expect that Xia Liu could actually achieve this step. It seems that his talent is expected to surpass Okatsu and Shokunji. I am truly a unique and excellent teacher. Then Gojo Satoru interrupted the exchange between several people. Okay, I will take Itadori and Xia Liu to arrange accommodation now. You can talk about it next time. Before leaving, Maki clenched her fists and looked deeply at Xia Liu. Next time, be sure to have a good discussion with him. At least in physical skills, you can't lose. Naturally, Xia Liu's Sharingan cannot escape this scene. Xia Liu's mouth curved slightly, he already knew the first candidate of Xiao organization. Zenuan Maki, who is cold on the outside and hot on the inside, has a strong personality and is born with 0 magic power. She is looked down upon by the Zenuan family. Her biggest obsession is to obtain the title of first-level conjurer and slap the Chanyuan family in the face. You can start from this aspect. Why are you dazed? Go check out the dormitory. Gojo Satoru urged. Along the way, Itadori instantly transformed into a little fanboy. Xia Liu-san, can I live next to you? Natsuliu-kun, can you teach me taijutsu? Natsuliu-kun, tell me how you beat Uncle Yaga just now. Yaga Masamiki, who was about to go back to the house, staggered and almost fell when he heard this. Hiss. This young man is really without sense. He doesn't strike lightly or harshly. But speaking of it, he was the one who showed mercy, and even Xia Liu was the one who stepped down. Watching Xia Liu's leaving figure, he fell into deep thought. What is the origin of this boy? Except for the incantation that cannot be attacked, even the physical skills completely overwhelm him. Could it be that a genius emerged from big 3 sorcerer families? Yaga shook his head. At the moment, he still has to deal with the matter of the Susanoo container Itadori. After all, the pressure from the top management is too great. Even if Gojo Satoru is here, there is no guarantee that those old men will not do something. As for Natsuliu's identity, let Ieri Shoko and Iori Utahime investigate. Chapter 7 Iron Lady, Wild Rose. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 213. 53. 71. A few days later, Shibuya and Harajuku. This is a symbol of Tokyo's trend. Business, entertainment, and transportation are the most developed places. At the same time, it is also a paradise for young people. The streets are full of glamorous young men and women. Outside the subway station, the three of them leaned on the iron railings in boredom. Itadori held the popsicle in his hand and looked at Fushiguro Megumi. Including this person, there are only 4 magicians in the first grade. Isn't that too few? After speaking, he took a sip of the mint-flavored popsicle. Fushiguro Megumi still maintained his aloofness. There are only so few magicians in the first place, just get used to it. It would be strange if the streets were full of magicians. Speaking of this, Fushiguro Megumi's face darkened. Those who fight against cursed spirits with the purpose of protecting others are called cursors, and those who use curses to harm others for selfish purposes are called cursors. Xia Liu on the side, with thick dark circles under his eyes, was listless and almost fell asleep standing up. That's right, he had been suffering from insomnia for several days since he had just arrived in the world of magic. Hey, this is the trouble of recognizing the bed when sleeping. He naturally knows the person he wants to pick up this time. Iron Lady, Rose Kugisaki. Itadori sighed. As expected of Natsuliu, he can even fall asleep while standing. Is this part of the reason for his strength? Fushiguro Megumi patted Itadori's head. You are hopeless. Natsuliu must have suffered a lot in private because he is so powerful. He thought that Xia Liu was so sleepy because he must have been secretly staying up late these past few days to practice physical skills. For someone who is so diligent, I must learn from him. The crowds passing by looked at the three of them with strange eyes, but fortunately they were thick-skinned enough and didn't care at all. Long time waiting. Gojo Satoru came from the subway exit, carrying several boxes of desserts in his hands. Oh, it seems that I've caught up with the custom-made school uniforms. It's not bad. I look very energetic. Except Xia Liu, who was about to fall asleep next to him. The size is quite suitable, but why are everyone's clothes different? Itadori was a little confused. Especially himself, the colors of his clothes are different, and there is a red hat on the back. Xia Liu's clothes were even more different from those of others. The sleeves are not tight, the robe is loose, and the body is embroidered with strange fire clouds. This was something he specifically requested. The clothes are very similar to the Akatsuki organization in Naruto. The loose sleeves can hide a lot of things. For example, hidden weapons such as kunai. Gojo Satoru smiled and said, actually, you can make requests. Huh. Itadori touched his head, but I don't think I made any request, right? Gojo Satoru squeezed in between a few people and said with a smile, it's my suggestion. How about it? Isn't it very handsome and suits your hair color? Itadori nodded thoughtfully. It does match well, but he thinks Xia Liu's clothes are more beautiful and have the mystery of a master. In the past few days, although I haven't been able to learn how to become stronger from Xia Liu, I have heard many stories about martial arts. From Xia Liu's mouth, I learned that it was a story about an ancient eastern country, and Xia Liu seemed to have come from there. Gojo Satoru squeezed Natsuliu's shoulder. Hi, Natsuliu-kun, this is your student ID card. Xia Liu took the card, which contained relevant information about him. First year high school student, 4th level conjurer. Gojo Satoru explained, with your strength, even a first level magician is not an exaggeration. But you have just entered school, and if you want to be promoted, you need to take the test under the witness of the teacher. By the way, the higher the level of a spellcaster, the higher the reward for each task completed. Xia Liu nodded. There was no difference between a 4th level conjurer and a 1st level magician for him. If he could become a teacher, it would be more helpful for him to poach others. In the past few days, he has left signs of the divine power space in various places in the conjuration school in order to facilitate teleportation at any time. At the same time, a bald talent scout is looking for passers-by on the street who have the potential to become stars. This is a young lady with good looks and good figure passing by, and the bald scout immediately came forward to chat with her. And this scene was also seen by Jingqi Wild Rose, who had just gotten off the subway. Her eyes lit up and she walked up quickly. The scout said hello politely, rubbed his hands and said with a smile, Sister, you are in very good condition. Are you interested in becoming a star? The young lady waved her hand and refused impatiently, saying that she was not interested in becoming a star or anything. The entertainment industry in any country is in chaos. Hey, don't leave in a hurry. How about being a model? You have great potential. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. After being ruthlessly rejected, the scout uncle breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, a powerful female voice came over. Hey, uncle, what do you think of me? The one who spoke was none other than Kugisaki Wild Rose. The scout uncle just glanced at it and shook his head politely. Although she looks good, her temperament is obviously not related to the celebrity industry. Moreover, there seems to be a domineering feeling in the words, giving people an invisible sense of oppression. It's better to get rid of her quickly. I'm in a hurry too. After saying that, the scout turned around and ran away. Hello. Wild Rose was speechless. What are you doing? I am so scary. Seeing this scene, Xia Liu felt a little funny. She is indeed Sister Kui. She is more domineering than in the impression, but she seems to be more beautiful, a heroic beauty with short hair. Itadori. Is she the one we want to pick up? I'm a little afraid of society, so I'll say hello to Fushiguro later. Fushiguro Megumi glanced at Itadori with a look of disdain. No one can be yours, Itadori. At this time, Gojo Satoru waved and shouted, Hey, here. Kugisaki Wild Rose turned around and saw 4 men leaning against the iron railing in front of them. They all had their hands in their pockets and were in different postures. The tall man wearing a white eye patch was waving to him. The corner of her mouth twitched. Why did she feel like these people were posing? Did they think they were in a boy band? Itadori said enthusiastically, "My name is Itadori Yuji. I'm from Sendai. Please take good care of me. My name is Fushiguro Megumi." After saying that, Fushiguro Megumi turned his head away, looking very cold. Hello, Xia Liu. At this moment, Xia Liu was thinking about how to dig her into the Xia organization. Wild Rose put one hand on her hips, pushed her short orange hair behind her ears, and narrowed her beautiful eyes. This guy with the red hat actually still held the finished popsicle in his hand. It smelled earthy. He must have eaten his own boogers when he was a kid, right? Fushiguro Megumi. He wears a hedgehog hair and pretends to be cool. Do you think he is cool? He is a self-righteous guy. The last one is quite handsome and pleasing to the eye, but what's with those eye-catching dark circles? I heard from Sister Shaori that she has heavy dark circles under her eyes when she thinks about Ceci all day long, so she has to be careful because of her beauty. With one glance, she had already given scores to several people. She put her forehead with one hand and sighed, "I'm really in a mess." Seeing that the atmosphere was a little delicate, Gojo Satoru coughed lightly. "Welcome to our Kugizaki-san, we have another member of our loving magic family. Let's have a great time in Tokyo. The school will reimburse the expenses. Oh." When they heard that they could visit Tokyo, Kugisaki and Itadori's style suddenly turned into kawaii Q-bombing villains, spinning around in circles happily. Fushiguro Megumi and Fushiguro look like they are hopeless. The day passed quickly, and the sun was already setting in the west. Evening, Roppongi. Outside a building shrouded in black air and full of curses. Gojo Satoru. The surrounding area has been sealed off. No one else will come in. You can feel free to relax. Ah, is this a cursed spirit? Itadori, who was still immersed in playing, looked confused. Kugizaki Wild Rose was a little speechless, isn't it right? There are actually newcomers. Itadori looked up and immediately understood. Gojo Satoru explained with a smile, Itadori's situation is a bit special. Officially speaking, this is also his first time to take the assessment, just like you. What about Xia Liu? He should be a novice too, right? Kugizaki Wild Rose looked at Xia Liu. Well, to be precise, Xia Liu is also a novice, but he cannot be viewed with ordinary eyes. As soon as Gojo Satoru finished speaking, the phone rang. After answering, his face became a little gloomy. Sorry, I can't accompany you anymore. A special cursed spirit is suspected to have appeared in Tokyo, and no one in the entire hospital has survived. Having said this, he looked at Xia Liu and said in a rare serious tone, "Listen carefully, after entering this building, you will all obey Xia Liu's command." Then he leaned closer and whispered, "This time is mainly to test Kugisaki and Itadori. Please don't take action unless necessary. Please, Mr. Xia Liu, I'll treat you to a happy meal later." After leaving these words, he disappeared from the spot. In Gojo Satoru's mind, Natsuliu is no longer a student, but a powerful magician who can stand alone. Ding. Trigger life choices. Task choice 1. Refuse Gojo Satoru's instructions, go directly up to kill all the cursed spirits quickly, and go back to the dormitory to sleep. Reward. Random B-level ninjutsu from Naruto, close black lens bracket. Mission choice 2. S*X and martial arts, before going upstairs to kill the cursed spirit, forcefully kiss the Kugizaki Wild Rose. Reward. A-level cursed tool, demon slaying knife. Task option 3. Accept Gojo Satoru's instructions and kill the hidden powerful cursed spirit alone. Reward. Open the system store, close black lens bracket. Chapter 8 Revolving Lantern. It doesn't exist. After some thought, Xia Liu chose 3. No dog can learn B-level ninjutsu, and maybe after opening them all, I can directly buy better ninjutsu. Let's forget about forcibly kissing Kugizaki. It's no different from seeking death. He's being hunted for 10 streets, so it's better to take your time in relationships. In fact, it's just that the things provided by the system are not in place. If it impresses him enough, he. What? You actually asked us to listen to Xia Liu. We are all novices. Kugizaki Wild Rose was a little dissatisfied. But Itadori and Fushiguro Megumi didn't have the slightest objection. After all, they had seen how powerful Natsuliu was. Xia Liu frowned after choosing the mission. According to the original plot, there would be no super-level cursed spirit appearing at this time. Now, Gojo Satoru has been taken away. But he immediately remembered one thing, the world of magic will maintain balance to a certain extent. For example, the birth of Gojo Satoru broke the balance, causing the magic spirit to become more powerful in recent years. This is like a scale. Could it be that the butterfly effect caused by his own time travel has once again broken the balance of this steelyard? Xia Liu swept his sight across the building filled with black air. In this way, there might be more than just a second-level cursed spirit inside. What's wrong, dear teacher Xia Liu? If you're scared, just hide behind, my sister will protect you. Kugizaki Wild Rose put her hand on Xia Liu's shoulder, acting like a big sister. Not to be outdone, Xia Liu said, "Dear sister Chiangwei, remember to follow the teacher's pace, don't be scared to tears." Kugizaki's face turned red. Who is your sister? Natsuliu looked at Fushiguro Megumi. Fushiguro, your injury is not healed yet, please wait below. But, Fushiguro Megumi still wanted to speak, but Xia Liu pushed him down on the chair. Don't force it, you have just recovered, and if a lone cursed spirit escapes, you have to intercept it. After hearing this, Fushiguro Megumi nodded in agreement. Really, why do everyone have such a strong sense of responsibility? Am I too superficial? Xia Liu shook his head helplessly. Inside the building, it was dark. The three of them walked together in a corridor filled with garbage and stench. All the doors and windows were locked by spells, causing the footsteps of the three people to echo continuously. Kugizaki Wild Rose walked at the front a little depressed. It's really annoying. On my first day in Tokyo, I have to deal with disgusting cursed spirits, and I'm even called sister. What a shame. Itadori, stay to the left, and squat. Xia Liu suddenly said. Although it was a little baffling, Itadori still followed the instructions and squatted down. Wild Rose was a little confused. What's going on? Why suddenly? She hasn't finished speaking yet. Boom. The wall exploded instantly, and a tentacle filled with black energy shot out. The location is exactly where Itadori was just now. The cursed spirit was very cunning. Before the attack was successful, it immediately retracted its tentacles and disappeared. Cold sweat broke out from Itadori's back. If this blow had hit him, would he have been stabbed directly? Xia Liu, thank you for reminding me. Kugizaki Qiange stared at Xia Liu curiously. How did you expect it? Now, she seemed to understand why Gojo Satoru wanted them to obey Xia Liu's command. If it were her, she wouldn't be able to notice the crisis just now. Damn it. This feeling of being out of control is really annoying. I must become stronger. Natsuliu, who had been on guard for a long time, opened the Mangekyo Sharingan the moment he entered. As expected, the entire building is filled with traces of spell power. Such a large scale is definitely not something that a mere second-level cursed spirit can leave behind. On the other side of the wall just now, there was suddenly a strong wave of spell power. This was obviously a precursor to an attack. This is the meticulous observation power of the Sharingan. Nothing can escape these eyes. Go on and find this cunning cursed spirit. Then, Xia Liu said with a bad smile, for safety's sake, Sister Qiangwei, please stay close to the teacher. This time, Kugizaki Wild Rose didn't speak, she just pouted her little mouth unconvinced and came to Xia Liu's side glumly. Although she was very angry, she still understood the seriousness of the matter clearly. Seeing the always tough Wild Rose showing such an attitude, Xia Liu's mouth curved slightly. Several people came to the second floor. A mantis-like cursed spirit with bulging eyes was guarding the stairs. When he saw several people breaking in, he immediately ran into rage and his eyes almost fell out of his head. The intruder, kill them all. Xia Liu took a step back and cast a spell on Xia You, so there was no need for him to take action. Brush. At the critical moment, Itadori suddenly swung his knife and cut off the tail of the cursed spirit. The weapon in his hand is the cursed tool that Gojo Satoru lent him before, killing the demon. Hey, look here, ugly thing. Kugizaki Wild Rose came around to her side, holding 3 nails enchanted with magic power, and followed her backhand with a hammer. When the blue magic power suddenly appeared, and the 3 nails were very fast, nailing the magic spirit to the wall. She has a heroic appearance and has the demeanor of a female general. Boom. The cursed spirit struggled for a few times before exploding into a bloody mist. Itadori. Awesome. 3 nails killed the cursed spirit easily. Kugizaki Wild Rose put her hands on her hips and raised her white chin, like a proud white swan. How about it, do you want to consider becoming my little brother? After saying that, he still raised his eyebrows at Xia Liu, as if to say, I am not a weak woman, don't look down on her. Sure enough, she is still the big sister in my impression, a wild woman who will never admit defeat. At this time, suddenly there was a cry of children. Listen to the sound, it's on the 3rd floor. At the same time, disgusting green slime was dripping from the ceiling. Ho ho ho. There are 4 or 5 huge cursed spirits hanging half upside down from the ceiling like geckos. You two, get rid of these cursed spirits first, and I'll save the children above. After saying that, Kugizaki Wild Rose ran towards the 3rd floor. Xia Liu cheered, Itadori, the time of training has come. If you crush them, you will be the strongest. Itadori Yuji, a sunny boy who is full of justice and has an explosive sense of responsibility. But it was his character that caused him to watch his teammates die one by one during the Shibuya Incident, but he was unable to do anything and was almost on the verge of collapse. It is sad to have no strong strength but to bear a huge burden. Take this opportunity to train him. Yes, I will definitely not let you down. Itadori's body is slightly arched and his eyes are firm. The image of his grandfather rang in his mind, remembering Yaga Masamiki's conversation that day. The most important thing is Xia Liu's words, as long as you are strong enough. You can make all the conspiracies disappear and protect the people around you. Otherwise, everything is just self-motivated words. At this time, Itadori's eyes were burning with fighting spirit, and his body was trembling with excitement. Shine. Itadori roared angrily and charged into the group of cursed spirits. They were all miscellaneous fish cursed spirits. As long as he was there, nothing would happen to them. Once these cursed spirits were dealt with, he would immediately teleport to the 3rd floor with great power. This building is very likely to hide a 1st-level cursed spirit, or even a special-level cursed spirit. Rose Kugizaki can be dangerous. 3rd floor. In an empty room, there were several corpses of cursed spirits lying on the ground with holes in their chests. Kugizaki Wild Rose successfully rescued the child, but was surrounded by several cursed spirits. She was panting heavily and had been forced into the corner by the cursed spirit door. These clay figure-like cursed spirits with faceless faces and facial features are actually all hidden in those dolls. Damn it. These cursed spirits are obviously much stronger than the one on the second floor. Can I really deal with them? However, if these cursed spirits are not defeated, she and the fainted children around her will definitely die. There are at least 4 or 5 cursed spirits on the second floor. There is no way Natsuliu and Itadori can deal with them so quickly. The iron door was clearly in front of her, but she felt it was extremely far away. The cursed spirit had blocked the way out of the room. Are you going to fight alone? Soon, a cursed spirit squirmed and rushed forward. She swung the hammer with all her strength and penetrated the cursed spirit's body. Then he gritted his teeth and squeezed out the remaining strength to shoot 3 nails. But when she was exhausted, the speed and accuracy of her nails dropped significantly, and she easily dodged the besieged cursed spirits. It's over, are you going to die at the mouth of the cursed spirit? Obviously I still have a lot of things to do, and I don't even know what it's like to be in love. The most important thing is that I haven't seen Sister Sori yet. Kugisaki Wild Rose's expression was dull, and many scenes appeared in front of her eyes. She saw the most memorable thing in her life. Sister Shaji's beautiful figure left her, and tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. Is this a revolving door? At this time. Phew. The air fluctuated, and the summer current came with the whirlpool. Chapter 9 Inches Akatsuki, member, Rose Kugisaki. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 161. 40. 54. In the whirlpool, Xia Liu's figure slowly emerged. It seems that we have encountered a lot of trouble. Xia Liu patted her cheek and said calmly, hey, don't miss your sister Sori, deal with the cursed spirit in front of you first. You can tell from your buttocks that she is trapped in a revolving door of illusions. The annoying revolving door in the spell return battle, but luckily I came in time. Wild Rose wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes and looked at Xia Liu in disbelief. You, how did you get in? Obviously the door in front was still locked, and there was no sign of the window being opened. Could it be that he appeared out of thin air? Looking at the figure in front of him, although he is not so generous, he is full of security. No. How could this annoying guy know that he was thinking about Sister Sori? Could it be that he knows Sister Sori? At this time, several cursed spirits rushed up at the same time. Natsuliu's left eye focused, and as the Sharingan pattern rotated, it emitted a dazzling red light. Next to the head of a cursed spirit, the space was distorted, and the entire head was directly twisted off by an irresistible force. Like an exploding watermelon, blood sprayed on the ground. Thump. Headless corpses fell. Wild Rose's beautiful eyes widened. What kind of spell is this? Instant kill. What happened just now? In the blink of an eye, the cursed spirit's head was separated. Open the door, open. To deal with these cursed spirits, there is no need to open the door. Xia Liu snatched the hammer from Kugisaki Wild Rose's hand and charged into the group of cursed spirits with a sinister smile. Hey, my hammer is wrong. Be careful of the danger. There are 5 cursed spirits on the opposite side. Is it really okay if he just rushes towards them like this? He is actually more impulsive than himself. Kugisaki Wild Rose, who was still a little worried at first, stopped talking the next second. I saw a layer of bloody magic power attached to the surface of the hammer. Xia Liu's figure flashed and moved, the hammering wind roared, like killing a chicken, and she easily eliminated the cursed spirits that forced her into a desperate situation. So awesome. His physical skills are far superior to mine. I didn't expect that my hammer could be used like this. Is it so powerful? Hammering one cursed spirit. No. Just now Xia Liu seemed to have killed 2 of them with one hammer. Soon, as the last cursed spirit's head bloomed, the room fell into dead silence. Xia Liu took out 2 paper towels and carefully wiped the blood on the surface of the hammer. It's quite easy to give it back to you. Kugisaki Wild Rose blankly took over her hammer. Are you, really just a freshman? Is this kind of strength really just a novice? I wouldn't believe it even if I beat her to death. With the strength he showed just now, even being a teacher is enough, right? Could it be that Xia Liu likes to pretend to be a pig and eat the tiger? In the room, Kugisaki held her chin in her hands and circled around Natsuliu, looking at her carefully. Xia Liu was speechless and took out his student ID card directly from his pocket. No, I see it clearly. I am a 4th-level conjurer who is a freshman in the Conjuring College. I am guaranteed to be the real one. He turned his head and looked at Wild Rose for a while before he was sure that Xia Liu had not lied to him. But after confirming his identity, it became even more exaggerated. What a monster. He was only a 4th-level magician, but he could easily kill so many 2nd-level magic spirits. Really, too strong. HMPH. She suddenly put her hands on her hips and frowned, forcing Xia Liu into the corner, looking closely at her. Tell me. How do you know Sister Sori? She has never mentioned Sister Sori to anyone, and Sister Sori has no male friends. The 2 faces were only 20 centimeters apart. The breaths of both parties hit their respective faces, which made them itchy. Damn it. Just a few days after traveling through time, you were hit by Wild Rosé. But fortunately, he has 10,000 excuses, and he boasts about not drafting. Xia Liu raised the corners of his mouth and pointed at his eyes. I can see your past and future. Real or fake? Kugisaki Wild Rose focused her gaze on Xia Liu's scarlet pupils. For a moment, I just felt my heart beating wildly, and emotions of fear, ominousness, and sadness surged into my heart. She covered her chest and took a few steps back. Ha ha ha. Cold sweat broke out on Kugisaki's forehead and she had difficulty breathing. Just looking at each other for a second made her seem to fall into an endless abyss. What terrifying eyes, as if there is a demon hidden inside. Are you telling the truth? Then, what about my future? Speaking of this, she bit her red lips. From the moment she decided to become a conjurer, she never thought about dying well. I just don't know if I can see Sister Sori. Xia Liu knew that the opportunity to poach someone had come. Just now, he actually used a little illusion. That's right, in the past few days, he gradually mastered the unique illusion of Sharingan. Although it's not a perverted Tsukuyomi like Itachi, it's still useful enough. Moreover, Xia Liu believed that these Sharingan eyes still had many functions waiting to be developed by him. He walked forward slowly. Your future is not very satisfactory. Sister Sori, whom you miss so much, has not been able to. Enough. Kugisaki Wild Rose tightly covered her ears, not wanting to continue listening. Xia Liu was able to know Sister Sori out of thin air. It seems that his eyes really have the ability to predict the future. It's just that she didn't dare to listen anymore. In fact, he did not lie. The endings of the spell masters who returned to the war with spells were not very good, and Kugisaki Wild Rose was no exception. She was not able to see Sori in the end. Looking at Wild Rose, whose expression suddenly changed, Xia Liu spoke. I can predict the future, and naturally I can also change my destiny against the will of heaven, but... This time, it was Xia Liu's turn to force her into the corner. Seeing Xia Liu staring at her with evil intentions, Kugisaki Wild Rose rarely blushed. You, what do you want to do? I will not give in for the sake of an illusory future. Xia Liu's mouth twitched. Is he that kind of person? Xia Liu held up her chin. Join the Xiao organization and I will change your life. Akatsuki organization. Kugisaki Wild Rose wondered. She had never heard of it. Quote. The so-called Dawn also represents Dawn. It is a great righteous organization that fights cursed spirits, protects people, maintains world peace, and makes selfless contributions. Xia Liu put his hands behind his back, looked up at the sky, and said impassionedly. ... After a meal of pua, Wild Rose stared at Xia Liu in surprise. Is he really as just and selfless as he said? How? You know, the price of changing your life against the will of heaven is very high. Maybe I will be blind in both eyes. And you don't have to do anything. The system only said that it wanted to recruit people to join Xiao, and there were no other requirements. But at the very least, members of the Akatsuki organization must be willing to join, otherwise it will definitely not count. This was also the reason why he didn't directly use illusions to control her mind. Briar Rose was lost in thought. Is this considered a betrayal of the school of conjuration? Probably not, right? After all, Xia Liu just said that he didn't need to leave the school, he just had to give priority to the orders of the Akatsuki organization. Isn't this annoying guy afraid of going to school and making a report? But, when I think about my unsatisfactory future, I haven't even been able to meet Sister Sori. Damn it. He actually took advantage of it. Still holding on to it. Xia Liu smiled and stretched out his hand. Welcome to join, Xiao. Your future will be bright. After a few seconds, snap. Wild Rose's palm slapped Xia Liu's palm. Since then, there has been one more person in the Akatsuki organization. The mission of creating the Akatsuki organization has finally taken a big step forward. The eternal kaleidoscope seemed to be waving to him. Wild Rose, what is that Akatsuki organization? How many people are there? Xia Liu awkwardly stretched out two fingers. It's just you and me for now. TCH, it turns out that he was a mere commander before this. Hearing his name, I thought he was so powerful. Xia Liu, there will be more and more people in the future, and you are at the senior level. Boom. At this time, Itadori kicked open the iron door. Sorry to bother you. Panting heavily, he immediately slammed the door shut again. At this time, the two realized that their postures were somewhat ambiguous. Before Wild Rose could get on her feet, Xia Liu moved away gracefully to avoid the attack. After a while, Itadori walked in with an embarrassed smile. He. As expected of classmate Xia Liu, he can even be as tough as Wild Rose. Before Itadori could finish his words, he was kicked away by Kugisaki Wild Rose. Itadori touched his numb butt and stood up with difficulty. Let's go, the cursed spirits here should be cleaned up. Kugisaki Wild Rose held the fainted child in her hands and prepared to leave. Leave? I'm afraid it's not that easy. As soon as Xia Liu finished speaking, the whole building began to tremble violently. It was no less than a major earthquake. Through the Sharingan, you can see that the curse in the air is getting thicker and starting to riot. Haha, special grade. He looked at Itadori and Chiangwei. Special grade is not something you can handle. Take the children and jump out of the window immediately. Special. Itadori looked shocked, but what will you do if we leave? Let's go, don't hold him back. Kugisaki Wild Rose took a deep look at Xia Liu, who had a plain face. My future is all in your hands, but please don't die here. Itadori was even more confused. Wait. Is this progress too fast? In just a moment, even the future has been entrusted. Chapter 10 Hidden Special Magic Spirit. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 426. 107. 142. Wow. Following the Wild Rose, climb down the window. The butcher demon gives it to you, so be careful. Itadori took a deep look at him and jumped down. The whole building began to shake violently. Spider cracks appeared on the walls, cement boulders continued to fall overhead, and the entire room was falling apart. Xia Liu looked at the soles of his feet with a smile on his face, letting the gravel drown him. Divine power is passive. He is no longer in this space at this moment, so he is naturally not affected. At the same time, downstairs. What's the situation? Fushiguro Megumi stood up quickly and looked at the two people who fell through the window. Where's the Xia Liu people? Itadori looked up worriedly. He said there is a super grade curse spirit hidden inside, so let's run away first. What? A special magic spirit? Fushiguro Megumi looked horrified. What on earth is going on? Didn't teacher Gojo Satoru say before that the situation here is just right for us to handle? But how to deal with this special curse spirit? Boom. The entire building collapsed instantly and turned into ruins. The three of them retreated quickly. Underground, a huge worm opened its mouth and swallowed the entire building. The terrifying pressure made it difficult for several people to breathe. The worm is nearly 100 meters long, with pale human faces on both sides of its head. Its back is also covered with countless tentacles. It looks a bit like hell has swallowed all the tentacle monsters. Xia Liu. The three of them shouted at the same time. Kugisaki Wild Rose squeezed the hammer in her hand. Xia Liu, don't die. I won't help you clean up the mess of the Akatsuki organization. Itadori. Contact the school quickly and ask the teacher to come and help. Fushiguro Megumi summoned two jade dogs beside him. Xia Liu is indeed very strong, but at this moment, the entire building has been swallowed into its belly, and it may be difficult to escape. This cursed spirit is a special level. I haven't seen the realm of birth created by it yet. No, the birthplace of this cursed spirit is its belly. As a result, Xia Liu's safety may be in danger. It's terrible now. I'm afraid the daylilies will be cold when the teachers come to support. Just when everyone feels powerless. On the tilted billboard, a vortex appeared out of thin air, and Xia Liu stepped steadily on it. Looking at the three people standing in a daze at their feet, you should stay away, after all, this is a special grade cursed spirit. As his voice fell, the three people suddenly turned their heads and looked. Let me go. Xia Liu. When did he end up on the billboard? The whole building has obviously been swallowed up. You stay away. Xia Liu looked at the huge cursed spirit in front of him and sneered. Was it the one who carried out sneak attacks on the first floor before? What's wrong with such a big man? Why should he learn to act like a sixth man and carry out sneak attacks? Now, he must be anxious after seeing all his men being killed. Kill it. The system's mission will be completed. Don't be impulsive, Xia Liu. To be on the safe side, let's wait for the teachers to come. They should be arriving soon. Fushiguro Megumi analyzed calmly. Judging from the previous conversation with Susanoo, Xia Liu's strength should be comparable to that of a first-level conjurer. Logically speaking, a first-level magician can compete with a special-level magic spirit. But after all, Xia Liu is a new student and lacks experience. The risk is still too great in the absence of teacher Gojo Satoru. When Mei Mei, teacher Nanami and others arrive, wouldn't it be nice to besiege them together? When these words fell in his ears, Xia Liu's eyes darkened slightly. As expected of the always calm Fushiguro Megumi, he actually chose to shake people immediately. But this is not a good thing for him. The system's requirement is to deal with this cursed spirit alone. If it's a group fight, wouldn't there be no reward? No, we have to kill this special cursed spirit before the teachers arrive. The target of first-level magicians is special-level magic spirits. It's time to see what stage you are at. Kugisaki Wild Rose was anxious. Idiot. Stop trying to be a hero. The huge body of the cursed spirit lifted the fences and cars off the ground, leaving no grass growing wherever it passed. Its target is Xia Liu. As a special-level person, it can see that only this human being poses a threat to him. Kill him, the others will be lambs to be slaughtered. At the same time, its tail squirmed, and the white threads instantly blocked the entire area. Larvae emerged from the ground and swarmed towards Itadori and the three of them. Oops. The whole area is blocked by the curse. Fushiguro Megumi, forming a seal with his hands, shouted, Manchiong. A pink elephant fell from the sky. Boom. The earth shook violently, and this attack killed many of the cursed spirit larvae that surrounded it. To deal with this large number of cursed spirits, the Manchiong that attacks in a large area is undoubtedly the best choice. Kugisaki Wild Rose's eyes were sharp as she hammered the steel needle and pierced the row of larvae in front of her. Resonance. With a sharp shout, she struck hard on the straw doll in her left hand with a hammer engraved with a small pink heart. When the larva hit by the nails before instantly exploded into blood mist. Itadori, who has not yet learned the Black Flash, can only transform into a primitive man and fight hand-to-hand with the cursed spirit larva. Damn it. It's impossible to kill all these larvae, let alone help Xia Liu. You must not get into trouble. The three of them looked at Xia Liu standing motionless above, feeling extremely worried. They could only hope that the teachers would come quickly. Roar. The super-grade cursed spirit opened its mouth big enough to swallow the entire building and rushed towards Xia Liu, while at the same time countless tentacles on its back shot straight at him. Boom boom boom. The billboard was instantly crushed into powder by the overwhelming tentacles. The earth collapsed because it could not bear the huge body. Every attack of the super-level magic spirit can cause huge power. However, all the attacks directly penetrated Xia Liu's body without causing any damage. Xia Liu jumped up and came directly to the top of the cursed spirit. The butcher demon in his hand drew a shocking scar on its body. Sizzle. The green blood shoots out for tens of meters, like fruit bursting with juice. Close the door, open it. Red chi and blood emerge all over the body. Xia Liu's long hair is windless, and the blood vessels between the forehead are bulging. With his strength and speed greatly increased, he stepped directly on the back of the cursed spirit and swung the cursed tool like a kitchen knife in his hand at extremely high speed. The hand speed of being single and 20 is most vividly demonstrated at this moment. Xia Liu cut off all the tentacles on the back of the cursed spirit like cutting fruit. Tentacles and all, get out of here. It has to be said that in the classification of special level cursed spirits, larger ones are often easier to handle. This cursed spirit should have devoured a lot of humans and has just entered the ranks of special level spirits. Liar, right. Is Xia Liu so brave? He actually stepped on the back of a special grade cursed spirit and slashed it randomly. Also, isn't Xia Liu's sword swing too fast? It's almost an afterimage. I'm afraid that just by relying on physical skills, I would be able to join the ranks of first level conjurers. Is this his true strength? The three of them were dumbfounded at this moment. They were also first-year students. Why was there such a big gap? No, it's not that they are weak, it's that Xia Liu is abnormally strong. Ah, unforgivable. The special grade cursed spirit was completely angry, and its tail stopped releasing larvae, and after a period of change, it actually condensed into a head again. The heads at the head and tail drive the huge body and attack Xia Liu at the same time, at extremely fast speed. Attack from both sides. Xia Liu, watch your back. Fushiguro shouted a reminder. Boom. The two ends collided violently, and the huge shock wave blew the three people to the ground like a tsunami. Xia Liu. Kugisaki Wild Rose's pupils were bloodshot and she screamed. In their eyes, Xia Liu did not avoid the attack. This is almost a full blow from a super-grade cursed spirit. Even thick steel will be crushed, let alone the physical Xia Liu. The super-level cursed spirit seemed to feel uncomfortable and violently hit it again several times. Crush it into meat patties and feed it to the dogs, Gia. It's a pity that I have to disappoint you. A cold voice sounded in Zhou Ling's ears. Huh, not dead yet. The faces on both sides of the cursed spirit's head that were responsible for speaking said in confusion. In the sky, a dark crow hovered in the sky, and no one noticed its existence. Chapter 11. The special cursed spirit is about to explode. At the same time, it was not far from the battle site of Xia Liu. Aijichi drives a black car and performs a fast and furious show. The speed of the car was extremely fast, but the people on the car were extremely anxious. It's a pity, I'm afraid the odds are stacked against me. A mature voice from Sister Yu broke the tense atmosphere. Mei Mei was wrapped in a black trench coat, which could not hide her graceful curves. She crossed her legs lazily, and her pale blue hair covered half of her pretty face. Just now, through the crow's shared view, she could clearly see the battle situation of Xia Liu and the others. You mean, all those little bastards in the first grade met with something unexpected? Nanami wiped her combat glasses, her calm tone unable to conceal her anger. Mei Mei slowly closed her eyes. The genius Yaga mentioned has encountered an unexpected incident, and the others may still be able to catch up. Whether it was through Yaga Masamiki's dictation or the crow's vision sharing just now, it was an eye-opener for her. The newcomer named Xia Liu is indeed terrifyingly talented. Hey, it's just such a pity for such a handsome little brother. Aijichi, who was driving in the front, broke into a cold sweat after listening to this. When he came this time, Master Yaga specifically told him that Xia Liu and others must be rescued. It can be seen that what Yaga Masamiki cares about most is the newcomer named Natsuliu. But Mei Mei just said that something unexpected had happened to Xia Liu, and she didn't know if the principal would be furious if he knew about it. How abominable. How could two special-level cursed spirits appear at the same time? If Gojo Satoru hadn't been taken away, how could Xia Liu and the others have been in danger? What's the difference between letting freshmen fight special-level cursed spirits and dying? Mr. Aijichi, please hurry up. After saving them, I can go to the principal to collect the money. Yes, Miss Mei Mei. Aijichi stepped on the accelerator, and the car turned into black lightning and raced on the road. Just as Itadori and others were grieving, a figure appeared in front intact. This person is Xia Liu. With his appearance, Itadori, Fushiguro Megumi, Kugisaki Wild Rose, and the special-level cursed spirit were all stunned. Itadori rubbed his eyes. Am I right? Xia Liu is fine at all. Under such a violent impact, Xia Liu was actually unscathed. Moreover, he had a smile on his face and a joking expression, and even his clothes were not damaged at all. It was as if the attack just now had no impact on him at all. Fushiguro Megumi breathed a sigh of relief. Although he doesn't know how he escaped this fatal blow, it's okay. Kugisaki Wild Rose lowered her head in silence, her hair disheveled, and her expression could not be seen, but her trembling red lips revealed her restless mood at the moment. This damn B************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Impossible. How could you be fine? The cursed spirit roared in disbelief. Of course, with his divine power, he would not receive any harm. Long before, with the observation power of Sharingan, he had already anticipated the attack from behind. So, at that moment he stopped attacking. The characteristic of divine power, as long as he does not attack, anything will pass through his body. Otherwise, if he attacks, his body will materialize. Once in the virtual state, even an all-round attack without blind spots can't do anything to him. However, there is also a tough way to crack it, which is a saturation attack lasting 5 minutes. Although Kaleidoscope is powerful, it also has its limit. Under non-stop saturation attacks, the limit time he can maintain the virtual state is 5 minutes. If it exceeds 5 minutes, it will reach the limit. The unbelieving cursed spirit once again attacked Xia Liu. Let's stop playing house here. During the virtual transformation process just now, he had already discovered the weakness of this special cursed spirit. Facing the bloody mouth, Xia Liu focused his left eye forcefully, aiming at the middle of its body. The space was distorted, and vortex ripples emerged in the body of the cursed spirit. Boom! There was a muffled sound, and the blood hole exploded. The huge body of the cursed spirit suddenly froze, and then twitched wildly. Xia Liu's figure flashed, and he came to the blood hole in an instant. He took out his hand and yanked it out. A fist-sized caterpillar with a human face was tightly held in his hand. Xia Liu's big hands were like iron pincers, which he could not get rid of no matter how hard he struggled. Ahem, let me go, cunning conjurer. The human-faced caterpillar was horrified. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How did he find out that I was hiding here? Even if he had some guesses, shouldn't he go for it? Xia Liu couldn't help but laugh when he saw the fist-sized cursed spirit in front of him. He didn't expect that such a small thing was hidden under the huge appearance. Just like driving a mecha, the pilot was forcibly removed, and the huge body of the cursed spirit stopped. The strength in Xia Liu's hand continued to increase, and the pale face turned red from the pressure, and his eyes swelled, as if they were about to explode. The moment it was caught by Xia Liu, it was destined to die. No, let me go. I was once a human being, old and young. I was forcibly transformed into this. I will never eat people again. Spare my life. That human face burst into tears and started begging for mercy. Xia Liu was confused. Do super-level cursed spirits speak so eloquently? Can they actually play the emotional card? Haha, I'm a little touched by what you said, but how can I get the reward if I don't kill you? The right hand suddenly exerts force. Click. First there was the crisp sound of bone cracking, and then the whole head was crushed in an instant. Xia Liu threw away the headless corpse, and the huge body of the cursed spirit under his feet expanded rapidly like a balloon. He reminded the three people below, damn it. This thing is going to explode, stay away. Oh. Itadori and the others looked dazed and retreated backwards sluggishly. They haven't fully come to their senses at this moment, and the special level cursed spirit was just solved by Xia Liu. How did he know that the essence of the cursed spirit was hidden in his body? Suddenly, Fushiguro Megumi was tapped on the shoulder. Huh, Teacher Nanami hi, Teacher Mei Mei, you are here. Itadori and Chiangwei also looked curiously at the man and woman behind them. Nanami Kento said calmly, well, although I hate working overtime, students are in trouble, but as a teacher, I have to have a sense of responsibility. Mei Mei holds a giant axe, and walks with enchanting steps. Her waist and hips twist in an exaggerated way as she walks. With every step she takes, her light blue braids in front of her face sway like a swing. Da da da. The high heels hit the ground with an elegant crisp sound. Nanami hi, why are you still standing there? After the fight, go to the principal and get the money. Nanami hi Wu Nan helps her. Is she trying to save the students or is she doing it for money? You stay here. If Xia Liu's body is still intact, I will bring it back. As soon as these words came out, the three Itadori people all looked confused. Ah, Xia Liu's body. Did the teachers misunderstand something? Itadori quickly explained. Then, that Natsuliu seems to be fine, and it's best for you not to go there for the time being, the cursed spirit is about to explode. Fushiguro Megumi and Kugizuki Wild Rose also nodded in unison and pointed at the increasingly expanding cursed spirit. Mei Mei and Nanami stopped at the same time and looked at the huge cursed spirit in front of them. You mean? The smart Mei Mei quickly guessed a possibility, and she was ready to share her vision with the crow in the sky again. However, the body of the cursed spirit has expanded to an extreme size at this moment. Boom! A deafening explosion sounded, followed by a torrential rain of blood that drowned everyone. Several people quickly cast spells to form a barrier. Chapter 12, Single Kill of Special Price Cursed Spirit. Teachers and principals were shocked. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 656. 164. 219. The two teachers took a deep breath and froze in place like sculptures. Has the special level cursed spirit been killed? Combined with what Itadori said just now, the two teachers looked at each other in shock. In other words, not only did Xia Liu not die, but he also killed this super cursed spirit. Although I knew from Yaga Masamiki that the newcomer Natsuliu was very powerful, I never expected that he would be so exaggerated. Special grade cursed spirits, even as first level magicians, they are not completely sure of killing the special grade cursed spirits. Mei Mei's beautiful eyes moved. What an amazing baptism of blood. Just now, her crow was unfortunately killed by the explosion, but at the last moment, she saw a pair of scarlet and sad eyes. But it was just the eyes, and the scarlet gear pattern that was magnified countless times and rotated slowly. What kind of eyes are they? They can actually detect the crow she summoned. After the explosion, a whirlpool appeared behind Itadori, and Xia Liu came behind him quietly, without any blood stains on his body. I'll give you back your butcher demon. Xia Liu's plain voice sounded after him. Everyone looked back in surprise, and Itadori was even more startled. Wow. Classmate Xia Liu, why are you always so elusive? Itadori took the butcher demon, touched his frightened little heart, and complained. In addition, the others looked at Xia Liu, as if they wanted to see him thoroughly from the outside to the inside. He felt a little uncomfortable with everyone's eyes staring at him. Xia Liu waved. How are you two teachers? Mei Mei took back the giant axe on her shoulder, moved it in front of her, and looked at Xia Liu. The corner of her mouth was slightly curved, and she looked at it with interest. This is the first time that my detective skills have gone astray. Huh, this kid's pupils have turned black again. He actually gave himself a warning just now, interesting. How many secrets does he hide? Xia Liu leaned back. He had noticed the crow in the sky just now and glanced at it subconsciously. He didn't expect it to be Mei Mei's. Looking at her blue braid that covered half of her face, Xia Liu had the urge to lift it up. I wonder what Mei Mei looks like with her twin tails. Nanami calmed down and said, okay, teacher Mei Mei, please be careful, he is still a student. After saying that, he looked deeply at Xia Liu. The breath was stable, and the total amount of curse power could not be compared with Gojo Satoru and Okatsu, but it was this that shocked him. In other words, he didn't expend too much effort in fighting this special curse spirit. Moreover, through the tactical inspection, it can be clearly seen that Xia Liu has no wounds at all, not even a drop of blood. If it were me, could I achieve the same level as him? Nanami shook her head and immediately denied it. There was no need for her to get into trouble. Everyone's spells and fighting methods were different. There was no need to worry about whether the clothes were stained with blood or not. Just thinking that the other party is just a newbie who has just entered school, it is still difficult to calm down. It is true that the waves behind the Yangtze River push the waves ahead. Gojo Satoru was born before, but now there is a freak named Natsuliu who killed a special cursed spirit just a few days after entering school. What a monster. Nanami patted Xia Liu on the shoulder. You did a good job. Not only did you protect your teammates, but you also eliminated the special cursed spirit. If you can, ask Mei Mei to take the assessment next time. Your strength is fully qualified. Mei Mei tilted her head and blinked her beautiful eyes. If the money is enough, you can pass the test. Nanami was speechless. Hey. Pay attention to the occasion. So many people are watching. Xia Liu nodded and said he would consider it. Sure enough, it's still the same Mei Mei who talks about money every day. In this case, can I directly use money to dig her into the Akatsuki organization? Xia Liu immediately denied it. It was probably unrealistic, and he didn't have any coins. From a distance, Ijichi hurried over and waved widely to everyone. You can see the excitement on his face. Great. Xia Liu is not dead. This way the principal will not be angry. I have to call the principal quickly to tell him the good news. At the same time, inside the Conjuring College, the atmosphere in the principal's office was solemn. Gojo Satoru, who had just come back and learned of the situation, leaned against the wall without saying a word, with a rare serious expression. Two special ones appeared almost at the same time, and their eyes were full of them, as if they were premeditated. He probably had an estimate of Xia Liu's strength, and he could protect himself even if he lacked combat experience. But what he is most worried about is the Itadori 3. If the special curse spirit attacks them, it will be difficult for Xia Liu to save the three people while protecting himself. It was his negligence. Xia Liu was just a student after all. Even if he were a first-level teacher, he probably wouldn't have time to take care of this situation. The worst-case scenario is that the Susanoo in Itadori's body wakes up again, which would cause big trouble. In addition, there were several instructors sitting around the table, namely Shoko and Utahime, while the principal went out to answer the phone. Shoko has short brown hair, light smoky makeup, and a pure white medical gown that accentuates her slender and perfect figure. She blew out a smoke ring and said softly, no need to blame yourself, no one could have predicted that two special levels would appear at the same time. On the side, wearing a red and white Miko uniform, Utahime consoled her. The principal went out to answer the phone just now. Maybe there is good news. Sister Mei Mei and Nanami also went to the rescue. The words just fell. Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open. Yaga Masamiki laughed loudly and pushed the door in. The gloom on his face disappeared and was replaced by joy. Good news, Nanami and the others have met Natsuliu and the others, and they are all living tigers. As soon as Yaga Masamiki said these words, several people suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Gojo Satoru shrugged slightly and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Moreover, Nanami and the others didn't even get involved. Xia Liu killed the special cursed spirit by himself. Having said this, Yaga Masamiki raised his chin proudly, as if he had done this. What? Shoko and Utahime straightened their delicate bodies, showing shocking expressions. That freshman Xia Liu killed the special cursed spirit alone. The corners of Gojo Satoru's lips curved even further. Hey, you are indeed the student I like. Is it true? This is too exaggerated. Chowdu. Principal, didn't you say that Xia Liu is the new student just brought back by Gojo Satoru? A fourth-level magician who slays special-level curse spirits. The two women looked at Yaga Masamiki in disbelief. Don't you know, this Xia Liu can't be viewed from the perspective of a newcomer. At this point, he pointed at his dark blue eyes that had not completely dissipated. Did you see that the injury on my face was caused by Xia Liu? Yaga Masamiki raised his profile proudly, his tone extremely proud. Now, Shoko and Utahime were even more shocked. Especially Shoko, who almost shook off the cigarette hanging from the corner of his mouth. Did they really hear it right? Xia Liu beat the principal. Chapter 13 The Mastermind. No wonder Yaga Masamiki has been suffering from black and blue eyes all day long these days. It turns out he was beaten by someone. But out of concern for the principal's face, neither teachers nor students dared to ask. After all, they are not the fearless Gojo Satoru. But this new student named Xia Liu is really shocking. Yaga Masamiki's strength is obvious to all, especially the curses he made, which are very powerful. However, even under such circumstances, Xia Liu still beat him up. Only a few days later, I killed another super-level cursed spirit. Isn't this too fierce? They became more and more interested in this new student. Gojo Satoru suddenly said, Yaga Loudon, how about promoting Natsuliu to a teacher? He is already strong enough to be able to handle special-level cursed spirits on his own. Shoko. I agree. Utahime. Me too. In recent years, cursed spirits have appeared more and more frequently, and they are more difficult to deal with. The missions of spellcasters are becoming more and more dangerous, and sometimes a second-level spellcaster has to face a special-level spellcaster. The mortality rate is too high. But this is also a situation where there is no solution. The gap between the number of spellcasters and the number of spellcasters is too big. As teachers, they not only have to perform the task of exorcising the cursed spirits, but they also have to take the time to lead the team and teach the students. It's simply more tiring than a donkey in the production team. If it weren't for the special physique of a magician, I would have collapsed from exhaustion. Yaga Masamiki gave Gojo Satoru a hard look and thought in his mind. This kid Xia Liu is really beyond expectations, his strength is definitely enough. As for whether the students can convince the crowd, at the worst, he can just convince him like he taught himself a lesson. The magician doesn't have so many twists and turns. The biggest obstacle is the top management. Not to mention directly promoting Xia Liu from a 4th-level conjurer to a teacher, Xia Liu's identity alone is a big trouble. Yaga Masamiki looked at the two of them and said in a deep voice, last time, I asked you to investigate Xia Liu's identity, but there was still no result. Shoko looked helpless. Forget it, I can't find any information at all. It's just as if this person appeared out of thin air. In the past few days, she and Utahime had worked overtime and used all available means, but there was not a single clue about Xia Liu's identity. As a result, all she can think about when sleeping these days is Xia Liu, Xia Liu. Yaga pondered for a moment. Let's do this. I will first promote him to a teacher in my own name, and the treatment will be the same as yours. At this point, he paused and glanced at Gojo Satoru, but for the sake of absolute safety, how about letting Mei Mei use crows to detect him? This is also a matter of necessity. As the principal, he must make all possible considerations. First, Xia Liu's identity is unknown, even his parents can't find out. Second, Xia Liu's strength was such that a student appeared out of thin air who was no less powerful than Mei Mei and Nanami High, and the specific strength was still unknown. If there is even a slight possibility that Xia Liu has ulterior motives, the consequences will be disastrous. So, let him take the blame for this evil man. At worst, he will personally make amends to Xia Liu. The two women looked busy, as if they didn't hear what he said, while Gojo Satoru's face darkened. He was not a fool. When he saw Xia Liu for the first time, he noticed the mystery of this person. But Six Eyes will never be wrong. Xia Liu has no hostility towards them at all, and can even feel some kindness. That's why he didn't bother to worry about Xia Liu's identity. It's just that he is the only one who knows Xia Liu's situation. It's normal for Yaga to have some guesses, but it's just too unfair to Xia Liu. You want him to share the pressure as a teacher, and secretly monitor him from behind. Anyone else would be unhappy. Is identity really that important? Why do you have to care about those old men at the top? The atmosphere in the room became solemn again. I remain opposed to this matter, but it's up to you to do whatever you want. There's only one Xia Liu, so you can take care of yourself. After saying that, Gojo Satoru left. Shoko couldn't stand such an atmosphere, so he pulled Utahime and ran away. Well. Principal, Utahime and I will continue the investigation. Boom. The door closed, and silence fell. Only Yaga remained in the darkness, as motionless as a sculpture. He switched his cell phone to the dialing page, but did nothing. Ever since the Xia You incident, the higher education institutions and even the higher-ups have been extremely cautious. That incident was not only painful for Gojo Satoru, but also for him, Yaga Masamiki. Don't take any chances. Finally, he dialed a series of numbers. A mature female voice came from the other end of the phone. Hey, although I didn't do much, I can't lose any money. Use your crow to follow Xia Liu quietly. I will give you double the money afterwards. Pay attention. Meanwhile, Roppongi. Night has fallen. Congratulations to the host for completing the task. The system mall has been opened, please check it yourself. Close black lens bracket. Given that the host has just killed one special level curse spirit and 5 second level curse spirits, the reward points are 11,000 points. Xia Liu's eyes lit up. Can you get points by killing the curse spirit? System, how to judge how many points are obtained. You can get points by killing curse spirits and curse masters. The higher the level of the curse spirit or curse master, the more points you will get. Close black lens bracket. Note, for members of the Akatsuki organization, after killing the curse spirit, the host can get half of the points reward. Close black lens bracket. I see. There is an endless supply of cursed spirits in this world, so it is quite convenient to earn points. Moreover, members of the Akatsuki organization can also provide themselves with half of the points. It seems that we need to dig more corners, and it is best to establish an intelligence organization. A magician with reconnaissance skills such as Mei Mei is the best choice. The auxiliary supervisor in the magic high school can also provide many locations where magic spirits appear. However, there is currently no good way to invite them to join, so we should improve our strength as soon as possible. If he could be as strong as Susanoo and Wu Jiao Wu, he wouldn't have to worry so much. Natsuliu followed behind everyone, and Itadori kept bragging about his heroic deeds to the teachers. I almost blew myself into a god. Open the system store, there are 6 items in it. Akatsuki Organization Fire Cloud Robe. Price, 300 points. Made of special materials, which can provide a certain degree of defense and come with an automatic cleaning function. Uchiha Madara's treasured ninjutsu scroll. Price, 100,000 points. Close black lens bracket. The same round fan as Madara. Price, 10,000 points superior to the existence of special grade cursed tool, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Obatama's same Magatama Samsara eye mask. Price, 1,000 points. After wearing it, pupil power can be slowly restored. Spell high precision sniper. Price, 50,000 points. Sir, times have changed. Special cursed tool close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Ichiraku Ramen. Price, 10 points. Approval from Naruto. Note, after each item is purchased, new items will be randomly put on the shelves, and you can also spend 1,000 points to actively refresh them. Of these 6 items, the one that most excited him was Madara's ninjutsu scroll. Uchiha Madara is the top powerhouse among Hokage. The ninjutsu he can treasure must be very powerful. Maybe there will be S-level or even forbidden jutsus. Although Xia Liu possesses Mangekyo and 8-gate Dunjia and has good combat power, he doesn't even know a single ninjutsu. It seems that you have to work hard to get points. After thinking for a moment, Xia Liu bought an indestructible Uchiha fan that could use Uchiha Rebound. I also purchased 3 pieces of Akatsuki organization clothes to prepare for future members. Hey, why are you so dazed? Teacher Nanami plans to take everyone to a big dinner, will you go? Kugisaki Wild Rose pushed his shoulder and asked. Eat a big meal. Is Iraku ramen delicious? But how can you miss it if you can have it for free? Xia Liu just wanted to agree. Suddenly, a faint light flashed from the surveillance camera next to the road, and Xia Liu glanced at it. I saw that there was actually some magic power attached to the surface of the surveillance camera. It looked like it had been carefully tampered with. His eyes darkened slightly. Is it possible to make surveillance difficult to detect by covering the surface with a hidden attribute of spell power? Xia Liu looked around and saw several figures standing on the balcony of a high-rise building 200 meters ahead, looking in the direction of Xia Liu and others. It can be seen through the Sharingan that several people are faintly exuding weak spell power fluctuations. As dusk fell, it was difficult for even a conjurer to spot him from such a distance. But none of this escaped Xia Liu's eyes. Recalling what the cursed spirit said before his death, "Don't kill me, I was also forcibly transformed by others." Xia Liu sneered. This matter is indeed not as simple as it seems. Is it the curse master? The points seemed to be waving to him. Xia Liu looked at everyone. You go ahead, I'm a little tired. Let me take the unconscious child home. Chapter 14 Late Night Visit, Curse Master. Wild Rose complained. What? You are willing to refuse such a good atmosphere. It's really confusing. The considerate Nanami said calmly. It's normal for Xia Liu to be tired after fighting against the special level curse spirit alone. Let the great hero have a good rest. Xia Liu cast a grateful look at him. Itadori said carelessly. Don't worry, I will pack delicious food for Xia Liu-san, but the price is that you have to teach me real kung fu. At this time, Mei Mei, who was answering the phone at the side, came over, looked at Xia Liu with a smile, and then said. I'm sorry, I want to go home and sleep with the beauty, so I won't accompany you. After saying that, she left alone. After saying hello to everyone, Xia Liu pretended to take a taxi back. 10 minutes later, the place was empty. Phew. A vortex appeared on the spot, and the space shook slightly. On the top of the building, a man wearing a white mask, a fire cloud robe, and a fan appeared. In the hollow of the mask, 2 eyes of spiritual reflection shine brightly in the darkness. This person is Xia Liu who just took a taxi and left. He glanced at the old surveillance camera across the street. The location is very hidden, and the magic power can cover it, making it impossible for ordinary people or even magicians to detect it unless they are intentional. A gust of cool breeze blew by, and the loose robes fluttered in the wind. The quality of the fire cloud robe bought in the mall is quite good. It is not only comfortable to wear, but also does not feel the slightest weight, and will not affect the battle at all. The most important thing is that it also has a built-in cleaning function, so there is no need to clean it, which is very convenient for lazy people like him. Looking at the crows flying in the sky, Xia Liu was thoughtful. In an unmanned room at the foot of Xia Liu, Mei Mei crossed her legs and ate melon seeds. Under the dim light, her beautiful black stocking legs were shiny and reflective, and her half-hanging black high-heeled shoes were swaying playfully, and her beautiful feet wrapped in black stockings would be completely exposed at any time. With Crow's vision shared, she saw the mysterious masked man who appeared out of thin air on the roof of the building. Her red lips parted slightly. Haha, do you think you can hide it from me by changing your clothes, Xia Liu? It seems that you still have a lot of secrets hidden. I hope you won't do anything to disappoint everyone. In the phone call just now, Yaga Masamiki stated his request. Originally, she was too lazy to care about such boring things. However, Yaga gave too much, and it happened that he had recently taken a fancy to an expensive bag. He took on this task. On the roof of the building, Xia Liu ignored the crows and headed towards the tall building. In the night, Xia Liu merges with the darkness, and he is as light as a swallow, shuttling through the buildings. Before that, inside the high-rise building, several curse masters gathered together, and the big screen in front of them was monitoring Xia Liu and others. Sir, it's that boy who killed the human-faced worm we worked so hard to cultivate. It's just one step away, and the plan will be successful. A dark-skinned man with an afro said through gritted teeth. It's ready to be repaired. Damn it, I've obviously transferred Gojo Satoru, but I didn't expect there is still a master. That special grade curse spirit was cultivated by them at a huge cost, and it had already devoured nearly 1,000 humans. As long as these magicians are swallowed, the transformation will be completed. At that time, he is closing the net, and the person absorbs the energy and blood in the belly of the face worm, thereby stepping into the first level or even the special level. But who would have thought that the carefully planned plan to lure the tiger away from the mountain would be destroyed by a young boy? The speaker was a middle-aged man with huge tendons and a haircut that looked like it was on fire. The members of the curse master standing next to them saw their boss getting angry, and they all lowered their heads for fear of being angered. They turned their attention to the surveillance footage. Xia Liu slowly turned his head and looked towards the camera with a sneer. Quote, question mark exclamation mark quote. Suddenly, as the boss, the middle-aged man's body shook suddenly, his pupils shrank violently, and the cigarette in his hand fell to the ground involuntarily. In the surveillance screen, it was already night, but the pair of terrifying scarlet blood pupils accurately locked the direction of the surveillance. The magnificent bloody pattern rotates slowly, and you can even see the sarcastic smile in those eyes, without any concealment. As if to say, I have discovered you. All the curse masters present were stagnant in breathing, and their backs were dripping with cold sweat. There was silence in the secret room, except for the heavy breathing of everyone. Even with many years of experience and strong psychological quality, the middle-aged man could barely recover. What kind of eyes are those? This situation reminded them of the man known as the strongest in the world of magic, Gojo Satoru. When Gojo Satoru was a child, they also had the idea of assassinating him, but they were also scared into giving up through surveillance. But this time, it was far more terrifying than the pair of 6 eyes. He had a hunch that if he kept looking into these eyes, he might lose his mind. Where did the young man under surveillance come from? Why has the magic world never heard of such a powerful person? Carefully investigate this person's origins for me. Turn his abilities into information. If you dare to ruin his good deeds, you will die. As long as you master the opponent's intelligence and target it, you might not be able to kill him. After all, not everyone is as perverted as Gojo Satoru, and it is impossible for anyone in the world of magic to be as good as Gojo Satoru. Yes, boss. Several men in black responded and walked towards the door. Suddenly, bang, the reinforced iron door collapsed with a kick. The boys in black were also shaken and flew out, knocking over the tables and chairs in the room. Xia Liu folded his arms and said, oh. There are quite a lot of people here. It seems like this trip is worthwhile. At a glance, there were probably dozens of people, and they all had the aura of magical power on them. Who are you? And how did you break in? Facing the sudden intruder, everyone looked at the mysterious man wearing a white mask with vigilance. This building appears to be an insurance company, but in fact it is their base for cultivating artificial curse spirits. Each floor is strictly monitored by guards and has 360-degree surveillance. Even Gojo Satoru would never be able to break in quietly. Is there an insider within the organization? Don't you remember me so soon? After saying that, red light flashed at the eye holes under the mask. At this moment, everyone's breath was stagnant. Boss, it's him. Even wearing a mask, the iconic scarlet pupils can make them instantly recognizable. As if being targeted by evil spirits from hell, a chill ran down my spine. The middle-aged man angrily yelled, shut up. Can I not G no? He looked at Xia Liu. Your Excellency is here late at night. Is there something wrong? After saying that, he glanced at his subordinates again, indicating that they should be shaken quickly. All this made Xia Liu feel funny in his eyes, but he didn't stop it. Come on, it will be easier to kill them all at once. I'm too lazy to beat around the bush with you. Is that special grade curse spirit related to you? As soon as Xia Liu finished speaking, the entire building sounded the alarm. Through the big screen surveillance in front, we can see that many men in black are rushing here quickly. Obviously, these people are all curse masters, but in Xia Liu's eyes, they are all points. Chapter 15 Shenwei twists his head and shocks Mei Mei. Haha, Your Excellency, you are so serious about your words, you don't have any spare energy. Are you so confident that you can walk out of this building? As the middle-aged man with a fiery hairstyle finished speaking. Boom. The magic power surges, lighting up the dark room instantly. More than a dozen men in black released their spells without leaving any room, and the spells came in different colors. There were even 2 big men who tore their shirts to pieces, revealing their exaggerated muscles, and were holding cursed tools that looked like daggers in their hands. The middle-aged man sneered. So what if you are a first-level conjurer? This is his territory. Not only was the space limited, but he glanced slightly towards the roof of the building opposite. A sniper wearing night uniform and holding a silenced sniper is already in position, and the gun is loaded with armor-piercing bullets. Later, in the chaos of the battle, you can find the right time to shoot him in the head. Even a first-level magician will not be able to escape death without defense. After so many years, he climbed up step by step and became the boss of the Curse Master. How could he do it without some special means? Presumably, the body of a first-level magician can definitely cultivate a more powerful magic spirit, right? Come on. Divide him into 8 sections for me. Following his order, more than 10 Curse Masters launched attacks at the same time. In an instant, Xia Liu was overwhelmed by the concentrated attack. Under the white mask, the corners of Xia Liu's mouth were slightly curved, but he did not dodge and allowed them to attack. Boom boom boom. The highest floor of the building burst out with dazzling fire. The smoke and dust dissipated, the walls collapsed, and the ground became pitted, but Xia Liu remained unscathed. Nani. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. So many attacks hit him at the same time, but they failed to cause any damage. Even if it's a special grade, it can't have any impact at all, right? Only the Curse Master boss behind him realized the horror. I didn't expect that there is such a spell in this world, which can actually make all attacks pass through oneself. But it doesn't matter, the sniper is already in position, he can't stay like this forever. Whoosh. Two burly men holding cursed tool flashed and came to both sides of Xia Liu. Two rays of cold light flashed almost at the same time. However, this speed was not enough for Sharingan eyes. Xia Liu pulled out the fan from behind and swung it across like a sharp knife. Bang! Two cursed tools fell to the ground, and the two big men were cut in half. Blood sprayed on the walls on both sides, dyeing them bright red. Xia Liu put two cursed tools into Shinwei's space. Although they didn't seem to be of high level, they were cursed tools after all, so don't give them up for free. It just so happened that there was a fruit knife missing in the dormitory. Seeing that his capable subordinate who had been following him for many years was cut in half, the Curse Master boss was completely furious. Behind Xia Liu, he was already surrounded by Curse Masters who came to support him. Give me, kill. This roar resounded throughout the entire building. At one time, hundreds of Curse Masters rushed towards Xia Liu in a flanking attack. Look, I'm in a hurry. Xia Liu retreated to the window, stretched out his hand and stroked the crow parked by the window sill. Under the mask, a deep gaze swept over everyone. Haha, you want to use the human sea tactic to besiege me? Then let you experience what despair means. The Sharingan turned and stared at the crowd. Immerse yourself in the world of fantasy. Those who gathered around were all low-class Curse Masters, and anyone who looked at Xia Liu was instantly under the spell of illusion. There is no possibility of struggle. Half of the people in the crowd of Curse Masters had their eyes blank and expressions dull, like puppets on strings, ready for anyone to control. Before it even came into contact with Xia Liu, screams of pain kept coming. P*******K. The white knife goes in, the red knife comes out. Ah you. Severe pain came from behind, and the heart, waist, and even chrysanthemums were mercilessly stabbed by the teammate who had trusted him so much in the past. Damn it. The boss of the Curse Master was furious and shouted, don't look into his eyes. However, it was already too late, there was a roar in my ears. He quickly dodged. Boom. A giant axe was embedded into the wall. If he hadn't dodged in time, his head would have been split. The person who did it was the assistant responsible for researching the artificial curse spirit, but at this moment he was obviously controlled by illusion. Sorry, brother. The power of his spell condensed into a sharp blade in his hand, and he ended the opponent with tears. However, his men did not have such good luck and strength. They were all people who had followed him and killed him all the way. They had escaped the sweep of the conjurer and the siege of the police, but they could not escape the blades of their companions. Although he was angry at this moment, he was more afraid. Who is this mysterious masked man? Just a glare can control so many subordinates to kill each other. It's simply too outrageous. Even Six Eyes can't do this, right? Even if he steps forward now, he will never be his opponent. Now he can only place his hope on the sniper. The other party would never have imagined that he had arranged this move. Soon, all the Curse Masters were dead under Xia Liu's illusion. In the aisle, blood flowed like a river. There were heads on the ground, in the walls, and even on the ceiling, dying in different ways. Most of these people died at the hands of his own people. The corpses with their heads stuck in the ceiling were photographed by him with a round fan. It feels pretty good. Xia Liu's eyes were dark. You are the only one left, Commander-in-Chief. With a flash of his body, he pressed the Curse Master boss against the wall in an instant. I just heard at the door that you are cultivating artificial curse spirits. Where is the laboratory? Don't force me to use illusions. The indifferent voice fell into my ears, like a devil's whisper. The Sharingan was used more frequently today and it already hurts. Even if White Mask can slowly restore his pupil power, it's really very slow. The boss of the Curse Master looked ferocious and forced out a sinister smile. Ahem, haha, you have no chance to know. Right now, it's an excellent opportunity for sniping. I believe the gun will go off soon. You just need to do your best to attract his attention. Xia Liu, really? Your sniper must be tired from lying down, right? As soon as these words came out, the middle-aged man's pupils were as thin as needles. How is that possible? How could he find out? He actually found out about the last straw. Under the extremely frightened eyes of the other party, Xia Liu slowly turned his head and looked at the tall buildings in the distance. At the same time, in the tall building opposite, the sniper blended in with the night and slowly pressed the trigger. Now is the perfect opportunity. Hee. The magic power in Mei Mei's hand was concentrated on her fingertips, and a crow appeared silently in her palm. Through crow observation, she witnessed a crushing battle. The terrifying anti-detection power and the illusion of forcibly controlling people's hearts. Ha, what a terrifying guy, even I was almost deceived by his harmless appearance. Just now, the moment Xia Liu retreated to the window and stroked the crow, she understood. It turned out that the reconnaissance that I was so proud of had been discovered long ago. Are you disdainful of exposing yourself? It's really frustrating. However, he is still too young to be caught with a backhand. Unexpectedly, with this shot, the little brother's head will explode. Hey, help him for once, and then ask him to collect the protection money later. Call out. A crow lunges towards the sniper who is about to pull the trigger, with a speed no less than a bullet. However, the next moment, Mei Mei's beautiful eyes widened and her red lips opened into an O shape, as if she could fit a large ham in. Chapter 16 Xia Liu vs Mei Mei. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 133. 33. 44. I saw a vortex flowing around the sniper's head, and the space was distorted. Boom. The entire head was directly twisted off and fell into the divine space. The headless corpse shook a few times and then fell downwards. The crow she released followed closely behind and flew into the air, which was a bit redundant. Exploded. Is this familiar spatial fluctuation caused by Xia Liu? I hope Xia Liu is not their enemy, otherwise there will be big trouble. After being stunned for a moment, Mei Mei looked at Xia Liu, who was wearing a white mask in the opposite room. However, he saw that the other party was staring at him at this moment, and even blinked meaningfully. She quickly looked away. Are you being teased by a student? Mei Mei jumped up, nodded gracefully, shook her head and smiled. From the looks of it, I was overly worried, as this kid had discovered the sniper long ago. Is it deliberately left to kill until the end to give the opponent endless despair? It's really unfathomable. She became more and more interested in Xia Liu. For now, let's go to the place where the artificial curse spirits are cultivated in the basement. Through Crow's observation, she has discovered the basement. She didn't want to step into that kind of dirty place at first, but besides money, the responsibility of being a magician barely ranked second. After reporting the situation there to the school, we should be able to blackmail Yaga for some money. Xia Liu pressed the head of the sorcerer boss against the window. I'm sorry, in the face of absolute strength, any conspiracy and trick are in vain. The boss of the curse master has given up struggling, and his anxious heart has finally cooled down. Just now, he witnessed everything with his own eyes. The mysterious masked man in front of him just glared and arranged for the top sniper's head to be separated. Is he God? It's better to be like a prophet and discover the sniper's position early. It was as if everything was as he expected. The most terrifying thing is that with just one look, his head was broken from 100 meters away. Is this something only gods can do? It's over, this time I kicked the carbon alloy iron plate. All the efforts of his carefully trained subordinates were in vain. Everything is given by him. Thinking of this, the fear and confusion in my heart were replaced by anger. His eyes were bloodshot, even if he died. He would still be disgusted. Ha ha ha. Want to know about the underground laboratory? Unless you come to hell to find me. After saying that, his cheek muscles bulged, and he actually wanted to bite his tongue and commit suicide. Illusion. As the Xia Liu illusion was activated, the curse master's expression was dull, his pupils were out of focus, and even biting his tongue and committing suicide became a luxury. Don't be in a hurry, be good, where is the specific location of the underground breeding room? Xia Liu endured the stinging pain in his eyes and asked. On, the third negative floor. Okay, you can die. Good night, uncle. Click. Xia Liu broke his neck. This time I killed so many curse masters and gained a lot of points. If it is true, as people say, that there are still many half-finished curse spirits cultivated in the basement, wouldn't it be possible to gain a lot of points? Semi-finished products should also be considered points, right? Meanwhile, the basement. The green light barely illuminated the surroundings, and there were huge transparent containers on both sides. There are many semi-finished products of the curse sleeping in the container, with green liquid soaking their lower bodies, and many pipes connected to their backs. Half human, half insect, frog-headed and human-like, and others are spliced together from a variety of creatures, with extremely complex compositions. The sound of high heels echoed in the enclosed space. Just listening to the sound makes people think. Mei Mei carries the giant axe with one hand and walks leisurely. Behind her, dozens of experimenters in white coats lay, with blood flowing all over the floor. Could this be the purpose of Xia Liu's trip? Through the battle just now, it can be ruled out that Xia Liu does not belong to the class of curse masters. This is also the reason why she helped him just now, although she didn't help him. But she did not let down her guard against Xia Liu. After all, his behavior was too weird. Why pretend to leave with them and then return later? Moreover, how did he know what was going on here? She didn't believe it was simply seeking revenge. He is such a troublesome guy. Wouldn't it be better to just be her good student? He has to be secretive. It's really troublesome. She took out her mobile phone and prepared to record the situation here. Leave the dirty work of dealing with these man-made cursed spirits to the counselors and supervisors. At this moment, the space ahead fluctuated. Mei Mei was thoughtful and immediately hid behind the stone pillar. Phew. The whirlpool appears and the summer stream appears. Mei Mei was a little envious when she saw this scene. Space spells were really convenient for traveling if nothing else. Has anyone been here? Looking at the dozen corpses lying on the ground, Xia Liu murmured. But he couldn't find any clues for a while. After all, his Sharingan couldn't see through. But smelling the faint fragrance in the air, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. The scent is very familiar, and I already have the answer in my mind. He had already been prepared for the fact that the Conjuration High School had doubts about him. First of all, I came from time travel, and my identity and background are unknown. The school should try to check my background, and the results can be imagined. Secondly, having a strength that far exceeds that of a new student, it is inevitable to be suspected, and these Xia Liu can understand it. However, he had no intention of hiding his strength. At most, he could barely hide some trump cards in front of Susanoo and Naohua who had not yet appeared. After all, intelligence can play a key role in the spell return battle, and he doesn't want to be targeted. Therefore, before becoming invincible, one still has to submit to teacher Gojo Satoru to attract the target. The only bad thing about it is poaching people into the Akatsuki organization. The sound of breathing through the nose came, Mei Mei's face turned red, and she thought to herself. Oops, if I had known better, I wouldn't wear perfume when I go out. This guy has a pretty good nose. There is a high probability that it has been discovered. The laboratory is silent. The two of them had a tacit understanding. Xia Liu did not expose the hidden Mei Mei, and Mei Mei did not take the initiative to show up. He walked to the center and roughly glanced at all the man-made spell spirits. This group of curse masters are really beasts. They have murdered countless people behind their backs. He looked at the sleeping experimental subject in the container. Human or not, ghost or not, it must be very painful, right? Everyone gets what they need. I help you get rid of it, and you obediently turn it into my points. It shouldn't be too much, right? Thinking about it, Xia Liu took off the fan behind him and was about to take action. Whoosh! A crow attacks from behind. Extremely fast. Xia Liu glanced sideways, his eyes slightly condensed. Divine power. Boom. The crow fell 1 meter in front of him, and his headless body struggled twice on the ground before dying. He has now developed the habit of powerful headlocks, and his headshot rate is 100% within 10 meters. Xia Liu said in a deep voice, "Come out." A beautiful figure walked out slowly, and the giant axe in his hand dropped to the ground, making a dent. Xia Liu raised his eyebrows slightly, knowing something about Mei Mei, a first-level magician. The reason why she is ranked first level is not because of her crow shikigami, but because of her physical skills that are enough to compete with special-level curse spirits. Such a heavy axe is as light as cotton in her hands. Sorry, we can't let you mess around with the experimental subjects here. Mei Mei looked at Xia Liu with a half-smile. You pretend to look pretty good, but you actually know how to use magic power to change your voice. But you can't hide this from yourself. The eye holes on the mask emitted a scarlet and miserable light, as if it was pulling her into the abyss and mire. What? You want to use genjutsu on your teacher? Xia Liu didn't respond. He half squinted his eyes through the mask and looked at the other person, pretending to be an expert without saying anything. Although Mei Mei's tone was frivolous and casual, her eyes were always looking at the ground, not daring to look into those strange eyes. Even she was not sure she could resist his illusion. If she was confused by the illusion, wouldn't she be at his mercy? Therefore, it is better not to treat it as a bad thing. Xia Liu's voice became even louder. I'm afraid you have recognized the wrong person. Please don't hinder me from doing my business. You should also be able to tell that there is no chance of survival for these man-made cursed spirits. Mei Mei looked at Xia Liu subconsciously. No, the things here are not good for me either. Before she could finish her words. Sharingan. Genjutsu. Xia Liu decisively caught Mei Mei looking at him for a moment and activated the illusion. After killing these cursed spirits and calling it a day, he wouldn't be too lazy to talk to Mei Mei. Bad. I was careless. Just by glancing at it, he fell into an illusion. It was impossible to prevent it. Consciousness is going to be broken. Mei Mei was instantly frozen in place, with cold sweat dripping from her white forehead, her eyes rolled back, and she looked lost in thought. For some reason, looking at Mei Mei like this made Xia Liu feel very conquered. However, the speed of waving the fan in his hand has not slowed down at all. Chapter 17 Bribing with Money. Xia Liu's goal was to knock her out directly, then put her into the divine power space, and then release her after she was done. The moment the fan in his hand was close to the back of her neck, a fierce wind came from the side of her head. Xia Liu decisively gave up the attack, and the giant axe passed through Xia Liu's body without any hindrance. The air is terrible. After finishing this blow, Mei Mei suddenly retreated and distanced herself. She covered her aching forehead with one hand, her whole body dripping with sweat, and her chest was rising and falling. Hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Mei Mei gasped for air, as if she had just survived drowning. Fortunately, I managed to break free. He was such a scary guy. I almost fell into his hands. How embarrassing would it be if this spread? Xia Liu was also a little surprised. How could he break away from his illusion so quickly? But then I thought about it, it was normal. He still had some energy left in the illusion this time. In addition, he used his eyes too much today and fought non-stop, so the magic power was almost exhausted. Tick-tock, liquid dripped from the corner of his mouth, and he subconsciously stretched out his tongue to lick it. It's salty and has a fishy smell. Damn it. Xia Liu quickly closed his eyes, and a few more drops of blood fell. It seems that I overused my eyes today, and judging from this, activating genjutsu consumes the Sharingan the most. It must be decided quickly. He looked at Mei Mei and said calmly, you should be lucky that I didn't let you see the collapse scene. Do you still want to stop it? Can you really withstand the hellish illusion nightmare? Even if it's just an illusion. Mei Mei had already put away her casual posture and looked at the ground solemnly. He was right, he was indeed merciful to himself just now, otherwise he wouldn't have gone around behind him to knock him out. And if Xia Liu really wanted to kill herself, he could take advantage of the fact that he fell into the illusion and use space to twist off her head. Haha, it's still embarrassing to be threatened by a new student. But from this point of view, he does not have any ill intentions towards the conjurer. Seeing Mei Mei's hesitation, Xia Liu took out a black briefcase from Shinwei's space and threw it away. This was what he picked up from the curse master just now, and it was full of money. Mei Mei took the bulging briefcase and opened it, her beautiful eyes widened and she was stunned. This, so much. I am being manipulated. You seem to know me very well. She put away her weapon, gradually approached Xia Liu and whispered, are there any more? Xia Liu's mouth twitched. You have to leave some for me, right? Hey, forget it. Mei Mei looked at him deeply. Give me an answer, or a position. I don't care about your identity. I can even help you avoid unnecessary trouble at Yaga. Quote. As for why Xia Liu left and came back, and what was the use of these man-made magic spirits? She no longer wanted to care about it. Moreover, it seems that I can't beat him, so I am naturally not qualified to ask these questions. Xia Liu pondered. Everyone has his own ambitions. I can guarantee that I will not cause any harm to the teachers and students. Your concerns are completely unnecessary. At the same time, he thought silently in his mind, poaching should not be considered harmful, right? Mei Mei looked at Xia Liu for a long time through the mask, and suddenly smiled. In this way, I can feel at ease with this money. Then she stretched out her slender hand, touched Natsuliu's mask, and dialed Yaga Masamiki's number. A middle-aged man's voice came from the other end of the phone. Hello, how are you doing? No abnormal behavior was found. Xia Liu acted bravely along the way. After sending the children off, he helped 3 old ladies cross the street. Moreover, he destroyed a cursor base at my invitation. Remember to add money. After that, she also uploaded the photos she took before, but of course she didn't send them out in the underground laboratory. After doing all this, she raised her phone and shook it at Xia Liu, as if asking if she was satisfied with this. Xia Liu was speechless. Couldn't he be normal? He helped the old lady cross the road, and there were still 3 of them. Thank you. Xia Liu turned around and looked at the transparent containers with artificial spell spirits on both sides. Divine power activates. Bang, bang, bang. The muffled sound of flesh spread through the container and throughout the laboratory. As Xia Liu glanced over one by one, all the cursed spirits in the container had their necks broken and were completely freed. Thanks. A head that could barely maintain a human face rolled down and shed tears of relief. Xia Liu smiled and nodded. All the people who reformed you have been killed, so just leave in peace. At this time, reminders of increasing points kept coming to his mind. Mei Mei watched with dull eyes as Xia Liu killed the artificial curses one by one. Especially the last sentence of thank you made her heart tighten. If you allow yourself to take these man-made cursed spirits back, you will definitely be greeted by high-level living body research. This may be the best outcome for them. Is it just for this reason that Xia Liu him? An incredible guy. Call. It was finally over, and Xia Liu was ready to use his divine power to go directly to the dormitory. Hey, wait, can your ability lead people? Mei Mei trotted over with long legs. She was exhausted from following this guy all the way, and she wanted to hitch a ride. Bringing people. It seems that you can indeed bring people. Xia Liu remained silent and hugged her waist. The sudden movement made Mei Mei tremble, but she did not resist. Hold on tight. This is my first time teleporting someone. Don't blame me for missing arms and legs. Mei Mei smiled half-heartedly, leaned into his ear and whispered, Tisk. I'm your teacher, don't think too much. After saying that, the mature and plump girl gently pressed against her. Magic College, girls' dormitory, teacher's residence. Phew. The space was distorted, a vortex appeared, and 2 figures landed. It's really easy to come and go, very convenient. Mei Mei sighed with envy. Then he narrowed his eyes and looked at Xia Liu with a scrutinizing gaze. You wouldn't accidentally teleport directly to the girls' dormitory, would you? Xia Liu raised his eyebrows slightly. She didn't say it because she hadn't thought of it yet. But then again, is Tangtang Shenwei used for this kind of thing? Bye-bye. After leaving a word, Xia Liu disappeared. Back in the dormitory, Xia Liu took off his mask and could see his bloodshot eyes through the mirror. Fortunately, apart from dryness and dull pain, there were no other effects, and my vision was not affected either. Judging from today, Mei Mei is a mature woman, not as easy to deceive as Kugisaki Wild Rose. So he didn't send him an invitation to join the Akatsuki organization. After all, he couldn't understand her true thoughts. Then the next target is Maki. A woman who wants to prove herself all the time should be easy to handle. Eternal Kaleidoscope is the solution once and for all. He lay on his bed and checked his points. After tonight's wave, he really gained a lot. Hundreds of curse masters, as well as those half-finished man-made curse spirits, gave him a total of 51,000 points. I want to buy Madara's treasured ninjutsu scroll, but I'm still halfway there. To say more is not too much, to say less is not too much. This time, with some luck, he directly attacked the lair of a group of curse masters. That's why he gained so many points. It's still in the early stages of the plot, there aren't that many super-level curse spirits, and the 4 natural disaster Clepsydras haven't appeared yet. After purchasing the mask and the fan, 2 new props were refreshed in the store. 24-hour double physical skills training card, price, 500 points can automatically practice even while sleeping. Tsunade's bra, price, 500 points everyone understands this. The system is getting more and more wrong, Tsunade's bra is here. That's it. If you have any idea, just put Tsunade Heim on it and sell it. In the end, Xia Liu bought both. He put the bra into the Kamui space without any other intention. Xia Liu was just out of curiosity. And physical skills are also very important to him. You must know that the reason why Yi Kai is able to play such an amazing role in the 8-Gate Dunjia is because his physical skills are extremely powerful. If a person with average physical skills were to activate the 8-gate Dunjia, the power might not be even half of Kai's. Moreover, without a strong physique, it is impossible to open the subsequent 6 doors. After activating the automatic training card, Xia Liu fell into a sweet dream. Chapter 18 IF **** ed. Maki. The next day, Principal Yaga specially held a teacher-student meeting based on Xia Liu's performance yesterday. In the hall, Yaga Masamiki is located in front of the podium. The first and second graders of the high school sat obediently below and listened. Xia Liu was speechless. Didn't he just kill a special curse spirit? As for engaging in such a big battle, Lao Deng has the time to send people to investigate him and the energy to hold a conference, so why not give him something practical? For example, give out some bonuses or provide information on the presence of cursed spirits. As Yaga Masamiki recounted everything that happened yesterday, everyone in the audience looked at Natsuliu in the front row with the eyes of a monster. Itadori and the others are okay, after all, they saw it with their own eyes yesterday. But what they didn't expect was that Xia Liu would later follow teacher Mei Mei to take over the curse master's lair. But they were eating a seafood feast. After such a comparison, Xia Liu had almost become their idol. The most shocked ones were second-year Maki and others. The panda looked at Xia Liu with its big round eyes. Oh dear, is this kid still a human being? First, he beat the principal violently, then turned around and eliminated the special curse spirit. Isn't this too aggressive? In this way, it seems that their second graders are very dull. Maki was staring at Xia Liu's back intently at this moment. Hunting down super-grade curse spirits and destroying the lairs of hundreds of curse masters, is he really that strong? Both the spells and physical skills are so impeccable. She was born without any spell power, and she never relaxed from the moment she entered school. But the practice of physical skills does not happen overnight. Maybe I should let go of my self-righteous self-esteem and go ask Xia Liu for advice. Speaking of this, she clenched her fists tightly and made some determination. Sister Maki, what's wrong with you? You look so distraught. Kugizuki Wild Rose on the side expressed concern. Last night, she had a long chat with her senior sister who was cold on the outside and hot on the inside. Maybe they got along with her because of their personalities. The two quickly became familiar with each other, but why did she completely change her appearance today? She followed Maki's gaze. Was it because of the summer current? Speaking of which, I am now his, ba. He is from the Akatsuki organization. Maki said shamelessly, Kugizuki, can you help me make an appointment with Natsuliu? I have something to ask him. No problem at all. Kugizuki Wild Rose nodded repeatedly, she still had a good impression of this senior. After the disbandment, he planned to go back to the dormitory and sleep with a mask on, as he had an automatic training card. After all, his eyes are still a little uncomfortable now, and the mask can recover a little bit. Xia Liu, wait, came an energetic female voice. Looking back, I saw Kugizuki Rose trotting over, her short orange-red hair fluttering in the wind. The breath of youth and vitality hits your face. He joked, you still call me Xia Liu. I am your boss, so please call me boss. What you think is beautiful. But looking at Xia Liu's harmless smile, her tone weakened. Well, Senior Maki has something to ask you, can you come over? Maki is looking for me. Xia Liu's brain was running rapidly, and he guessed the possibility. Unexpectedly, things were much simpler than he thought. He hadn't gone to Maki yet. Instead, the other party took the initiative to find him. You have to seize this opportunity this time. Call boss, listen and I'll go. You. Wild Rose frowned slightly, clenching her fists and feet to hit him. But after thinking about it, I decided to forget it. I couldn't beat him anyway, and I would be the one who made a fool of myself. Old, boss. Her voice was very low. After she finished speaking, she immediately looked away with an unconvinced look on her face. That's right, members of the Akatsuki organization must be cultivated as early as possible. At this time, ding, trigger life choices. Task choice 1, Maki is very confused now. During the discussion later, I will crush her self-esteem until she cries. Reward, 1 piece of level 1 curse tool. Task option 2, Great Collector. Train the future tyrant and take off her stockings and put them into the divine space. Reward, 50% off coupon for them all. Task option 2, be a ruthless man and refuse Maki's request for sparring. Reward, the speed of drawing the sword is increased by 20%, close black lens bracket. The system is getting more and more wrong with you. Although Xia Liu, a gentleman, is very resistant to the second option, the system gives too much. Isn't the 50% off coupon just what you need? Just in time to buy Madara's collection of ninjutsu scrolls. Isn't it just to take off the black stockings? As long as the rewards are in place, you can just do it. But with Maki's cold and proud temperament, I'm afraid it will take some effort. Not too light, not too heavy. Kugizuki Wild Rose's face turned red. Hey. Why are you smiling so obscenely? It would have been embarrassing for her to call her boss in front of her, but this guy actually smiled so obscenely in front of her. Huh, you must be thinking about something, right? Have you finally fallen under my charm? Xia Liu, lead the way. A deserted grove. After Kugizuki Wild Rose brought Xia Liu to her destination, she left with a depressed look. At the same time, she had some doubts in her heart. Why did she have to talk about it in a deserted grove? But she didn't care so much. After all, if she was Sister Maki, she would definitely not do anything outrageous. Ahead, a tall figure was leaning against a big tree with his arms crossed. This person is none other than the future second-generation tyrant, Zenuan Maki. Like the tyrant Fuhei Shier of the generation, he was born with a constitution bound by heaven and curse. This type of physique is very special, and one can comprehensively improve one's physical quality at the expense of one's own cursed spirit. However, because I have a twin sister, my physical condition is still incomplete. Perhaps because of her years of physical training, her legs wrapped in black stockings were slender but full of toughness. The softness of a woman and the tenacity of a warrior are perfectly reflected in that pretty face. Xia Liu pretended not to know. Senior, is something wrong? Tisk tisk. I'm wearing Martin boots and it's hard to take off my stockings. It's really troublesome. But fortunately, it's not a one-piece stockings, otherwise I wouldn't imagine the consequences of taking them off. She walked slowly and threw a cursed tool at Xia Liu. Although you are an elder, you are better than me. Please give me some advice on physical skills from Xia Liu. Xia Liu nodded. I'm on, Maki. Maki said seriously. Come on, Xia Liu. Wait a minute. Xia Liu threw the cursed tool back. If it's a physical battle, then there's no need for the cursed tool, senior sister can just use her moves. He wants to irritate Maki a little bit, and this time the purpose is not just a half-off coupon. What's more important is to draw her into the Akatsuki organization. The best way to deal with people like Maki is to severely defeat her, and then gently lend a helping hand to break her proud heart. Sorry Sister Maki, I have no choice but to do it for the eternal kaleidoscope. Promise, just this once. Maki was very angry at the moment. Don't need cursed tool. Are you looking down on yourself? Could it be that he, like the pedantic Zen masters, looks down on himself? HMPH. Then we don't even need the cursed tool, just fight with bare hands. Maki inserted the spear in her hand into the soil, snorted and attacked Xia Liu. Whoosh. The long legs wrapped in black stockings carry the strong wind. Chapter 19 inches Akatsuki. Member, Zenuan Maki. In a deserted grove, the two figures moved quickly, Maki attacked fiercely, and strong winds blew up, blowing up dust and fallen leaves. Xia Liu dodged while observing her moves. Zenuan Maki's offensive methods are very clever. Her fists are like sword blades, and her legs are like knives and axes. Even an elbow strike is like a heavy hammer, and every part of her body can be turned into a deadly weapon. It's hard to imagine that a girl could do this. It's really a huge amount of pressure. Xia Liu didn't fight back for the time being, and could learn a lot from the opponent's moves through Sharingan. At this moment, Maki was ashamed and angry. Why does this hateful guy keep staring at her feet? What's so good about his own feet? The most annoying thing is that the opponent easily dodged all his attacks from beginning to end. Do you only know how to hide? Attack. Maki's anger level skyrocketed, and her attack became more fierce. The corners of Xia Liu's mouth rose, the time was ripe. Close the door and open it. As he shouted low, his clothes moved automatically without any wind, his body became as red as a shrimp due to congestion, and a faint heat emerged from the top of his head. Xia Liu said in a deep voice, then, don't blame me for bullying women. Is this all his strength? It is indeed amazing. The strong breath hit her face, and Maki couldn't help but take a step back, but quickly and stubbornly took 2 steps forward. She gritted her teeth and assumed a fighting posture. Don't underestimate me, I'm not a weak woman. What? As soon as he finished speaking, Xia Liu's figure disappeared from sight. Suddenly, a whisper came from behind. Sparring, how can we be distracted? Maki's pupils shrank sharply and she whipped her legs in response. Snapped. The long legs were tightly held in Xia Liu's hands, and he could not get rid of them no matter how hard he struggled. Maki's face turned slightly red. Let go. Let go. Xia Liu grabbed her leg and shook her hard, causing Maki to lose her balance and fall to the ground. Ah! Boom! There was a roar of fist wind in his ears, the soil on the side of his head exploded, and the earth cracked. If we were the enemy, your head would probably explode. Maki stared blankly at Xia Liu's teasing eyes, and was pressed down again just as she was about to break free. Then in her extremely shocked eyes, Xia Liu hooked the black edge. Her hands moved up and down, and inch by inch of black silk was ruthlessly peeled off from her thighs. Her long, slender, white legs are completely exposed. Finally got it. Xia Liu pulled away and threw the girl's original stockings into the divine space. He is an honorable man, how could he hear this? But it's hard to say when there's no one around. Pervert. Big pervert. Give him back to me. Maki, who had just reacted at this moment, had a pretty face flushed, and her beautiful eyes were not angry but proud. She suddenly felt a little uncomfortable without her stockings and her feet were tight. I didn't expect that he was such a person. No wonder he kept staring at his legs from beginning to end, just for this moment. But, what can I do with my stockings? Maki was filled with shame and anger, and her expression suddenly changed, as if she had made some kind of determination. She quickly took off her other pair of black stockings and threw them to Xia Liu in disgust. Since you like it, I'll give it all to you. But you have to spar with me. Holding the warm stockings in his hand, Xia Liu looked at Maki in disbelief. Damn it, things seem to be going somewhere wrong. The question is, he has completed his task, why does he need another pair? Put together a pair to summon the dragon. But before Xia Liu could think about it, Maki swung her long white legs and attacked him again, with fighting spirit burning in her eyes. Forget it, if you take advantage of someone else, just accompany her to have an in-depth discussion and exchange. 10 minutes later, Xia Liu gasped and breathed in the fresh air. And under a big tree not far away. Maki maintained an ugly posture, tilting her head, pouting, and rolling her eyes. Her hair was disheveled, 2 lines of clear tears were left on her beautiful face, and her body twitched from time to time. Xia Liu wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked at Maki helplessly. He knew that Maki was a proud and stubborn strong woman, but he never expected that she would be so stubborn. A good sparring session, does it have to go to this level? Falling down again and again, getting up again and again, obviously it is impossible to defeat yourself, but you still refuse to admit defeat. Even he was exhausted. In the end, Xia Liu deliberately didn't dodge and punched her twice on the face before she was willing to give up. It seemed that the pressure in her mind was far greater than she thought. Also, can you change the position? I don't know what I thought I did to her. Xia Liu squatted down and said, Senior Maki, you must want to become stronger, right? But you can't just rely on brute strength. Then, Xia Liu opened his Sharingan. Do you want to be looked down upon by the Zen family all your life? After failure, will your sister and you have to humiliate yourself and return to the family as the lowest servant? To serve those pedantic people, what a shame, old man. Xia Liu's words were like a bolt from the blue. Maki, who had no strength at all, suddenly shouted like crazy, I don't want to. Natsuliu gently held her cheek, and turned his scarlet Sharingan to look at her deeply. So Maki, do you want to become stronger? The words kept replaying in her mind like a ghost. At this moment, Maki no longer cares about the difference between men and women, and stares into Xia Liu's eyes with extremely longing eyes. Seeing this, Xia Liu was ashamed. Why did he feel like he was becoming more and more like a villain? The kind where the end justifies the means. Then, Maki reacted immediately and pushed Xia Liu away. You, how do you know about me? She kept these things in her heart and never told others. But Xia Liu in front of him knew him well. Even her sister knew about him. Isn't he a new student who has only been here a few days? Xia Liu continued his old routine, pointing his eyes towards the road. I can see your past. Then, Xia Liu talked about her growth process and how she was disliked by her family. As well as her physical problems, even the changes in her relationship with her sister are described in a similar way. Maki looked at Xia Liu blankly, although she thought he was very powerful before, but now she realized his mystery. He knows his past as clearly as maggots in his stomach. In addition, Xia Liu's scarlet eyes full of mystery seemed to be able to really see through him. Maki lowered her head and said nothing, obviously believing Xia Liu's words. I want to become stronger, but how can you help me? What are your requirements? Maki is not a fool, so she naturally doesn't believe in pie in the sky things. I'm afraid this is the other party's real purpose, right? The frivolous behavior of taking off his stockings before was a deliberate show-off, right? Xia Liu slowly stepped forward and said with a smile, the request is very simple, join Xiao, and I will teach you the 8-gate Dunjia just now. After saying that, he stepped aside, opened the door again, and showed it to her. There is no urging, but giving Maki time to make a choice. However, after all this trouble, it should be stable. Chapter 20 Xia Liu, you are so nasty. 8 gates Dunjia. Is it the physical technique he performed just now? Through memories, Maki can clearly feel that before Xia Liu opened the 8-gate Dunjia, she could still keep up with his speed. But when heat radiated from his body, he was no longer able to fight back. However, what is the Xiao he is talking about? She looked at Xia Liu. What is Xiao? Here he is, he has been waiting for this sentence for a long time. Ahem, the so-called Dawn also represents Dawn. It is a great righteous organization that fights cursed spirits, protects people, maintains world peace, and makes selfless contributions. Xia Liu put his hands behind his back, looked up at the sky, and said impassionedly. Maki blinked, confused by this sudden scene. The tone and skill of the speech were all in one go, and it looked like they had been prepared in advance. Are you sure it's not a pyramid scheme? And Xia Liu, he doesn't seem to be a tall person. Then, Xia Liu continued to introduce the benefits of joining the Akatsuki organization and how to make it easy. How's it going? This is my ancestral skill and it will never be passed on to others. Furthermore, as long as you join, I can be your sparring partner at any time. I guess Senior Panda and Gohan are very resistant to sparring with you, a fighting madman, right? Having read the original work, he naturally knew that no one in the second grade was willing to compete with Maki, a physical madman. In this battle, Maki actually hasn't used her full strength yet. After all, her real strength is her masterful use of the cursed tool. Finally, Xia Liu revealed his trump card. I can make you surpass a generation of tyrants, Fuheisher. Fuheishir's experience was similar to hers, except that he shattered all gossip with his extremely powerful strength. The Zenyuan family can't hold their heads up when they are suppressed by one person. Anyone who dares to push even more will be killed directly. Presumably, Maki has always regarded Fushiki Shiji as a target to become stronger, right? He has already mentioned all the points that can lead to Pua, but as long as he helps her realize it, it will not be considered Pua. The worst thing is, I can just accompany her to the Zenyuan's house from now on. Hearing this, Maki's body trembled slightly and her breathing became rapid. Do you really want to join the Akatsuki he talks about? She closed her eyes, and the past of the Chanyuan family echoed in her mind like a nightmare. Since birth, she has been ridiculed because she has no magic power and cannot even see the magic spirit. The cold eyes of biological parents, the shame in the mouth of family elders. And Zenin Naoya, who has been hailed as the heir to genius since birth. Since childhood, I and my sister have grown up under his criticism and ridicule. All of this is why she wants to become stronger and prove herself so much. Moreover, he even knew about Fuhei Shire, which filled her last doubt. Willing to join Xiao and do whatever I want. After saying that, Maki actually knelt down on one knee. Xia Liu quickly helped him up. The Xiao organization didn't need those rules and regulations. Of course, the premise was that he had to obey his orders. He smiled and stretched out his hand. Welcome to join, Xiao. Your future will be bright. Although it was to obtain the mission reward, he felt full of accomplishment at the moment. After all, another lost girl was saved. After shaking hands with Maki, Xia Liu took out a book from the Kamui space. The name is none other than 8-Gate Dunjia. After obtaining the 8-Gate Dunjia through the system, he instantly understood all the key points about the 8-Gate Dunjia in his mind. So it couldn't be easier for him to write it down. Moreover, he also used his own speaking skills to make the content more understandable. I believe that the smart Maki can understand it. Maki took the book, flipped through a few pages, and then her beautiful eyes widened. The operation of the meridians, the mobilization of the breath, and how to open the subsequent 8 gates are all clearly written. Except for the ugly words, this book was like a divine help to her. From this point of view, Xia Liu really did not lie to himself. Zenuan Maki nodded heavily. Thank you. Well, practice hard. If you don't understand, you can ask me. After saying that, Xia Liu took out 2 more clothes that he bought from the Xiao organization last time and handed them to her. Well, organize the team uniforms. You don't have to wear them, but you can't live without them. Bring the other one to Kugisaki Wild Rose for me. Maki looked at Natsuliu in surprise. Kugisaki, is she yours too? Yes. Xia Liu then said seriously, the closed door is the limit of what you can open at present. Unless it is absolutely necessary, do not forcefully open the subsequent doors. Without strong physical support, the side effects will be severe, and there may even be a risk of death. Well, I'll pay attention. At this moment, Maki seems to have lost her previous aloofness, but has a bit of a gentle sister next door charm. Looking at Maki's leaving figure, Xia Liu couldn't help but say, Maki. You look better without glasses. Maki paused, her ears turned red, and she glanced sideways. Xia Liu, you are so nasty. After saying that, she ran away. Question mark. Why do you feel like you've been scolded twice in a row? Summer flow and obscenity. But he is serious. Whether in the original book or now, Maki's appearance is completely sealed by those glasses. After Maki leaves. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the task. Reward. 50% off coupon for the mall. Xia Liu opened the system mall. The price column of Benya's treasured ninjutsu secret scroll has a slash, from 100,000 points to 50,000 points. You can just buy it through the 50% off coupon Xia Liu. He decisively placed the order. Suddenly, everything went dark. His mind was at a loss, and his consciousness was erratic, as if he was falling into the clouds. Huge amounts of information flooded my mind like a flood, as if my head was going to explode in the next second. Fortunately, with systematic blessing, a cool feeling appeared in my mind, like clear springs and streams, followed by countless inspirations. The originally obscure ninjutsu is now clear to the eye. In just 10 minutes, Xia Liu had learned it all. Xia Liu opened his eyes, with unspeakable excitement in his eyes. It is indeed a ninjutsu scroll that can be treasured by my classmate. There are all types of fire escape, water escape, wood escape, and even legendary forbidden arts. For example, there are such heaven-defying ninjutsu as turning around in the dirt and reincarnation. But I don't seem to be able to use it at the moment, right? If I remember correctly, reincarnation and the like require the reincarnation eye to be activated. I am still just a kaleidoscope. But what surprised Xia Liu was that he actually had the art of seduction. It seems that the class teacher is also a sweetheart. I have to say that this seduction technique is a conceptual ninjutsu. Even Kagaya Otsutsuki felt excited when she saw it, and was forced to stay in place. But what can I do with it, seducing Susanoo? As a result, he has many more offensive methods. Then, Xia Liu checked the progress of the long-term task. Long-term mission, the higher-ups of the conjurers are corrupt and refuse to work for them. Please create the Akatsuki organization and invite conjurers to join progress. 2/3 people reward, eternal kaleidoscope. Close black lens bracket. Yes, the eternal kaleidoscope is just around the corner. As long as you dig one more person, you can get the eternal kaleidoscope. Just as Xia Liu was immersed in the joy of the reward, a black crow with red eyes landed on his shoulder. You don't need to think about it to know that this is Mei Mei's crow Shikigami. He must have just flown in. Before taking off the Maki black stockings, he specially turned on his Sharingan to observe. Fireproof, anti-theft and anti-theft Mei Mei. You can't let Mei Mei see you poaching yourself. A piece of white paper fell into his hand. The content is roughly as follows. Yaga Masamiki plans to promote him as a teacher in his own name. It just so happens that a cursed spirit is suspected to be in Tokyo, so he only needs to follow him for a formality. Xia Liu knew that every spell teacher needed to pass an examination before he could serve. After all, in addition to being powerful, you also need to have the awareness to protect the safety of students at all times. I happen to have learned a lot of ninjutsu, and I hope I can practice with some special level ones and get points. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.